So, we are live, back again on Cub's Corner, and I'm here with my friend Greg from Texas, and he's running the show. So, Greg, it's your turn.
Hello, and welcome to Cub's Corner with Cub and Greg. And we are looking for a really good show today. We've got some exciting stuff. I know people have been waiting 15 years for a new Indiana Jones movie. I don't know who those people are, but they finally got their movie. We've got the Flash movie, which they've been talking about forever. And
Hey,
some really,
Greg, sorry,
yeah.
Greg, when you are wrong, I have to correct you. We are waiting since 33 years
Oh
for a
yeah,
new
you're not
Indiana Jones
counting the
movie.
Christmas Skull. You're not
What,
counting that one. I don't blame you.
Hey, get that in your stupid crystal skull. There is no fourth Indiana Jones movie.
Well, there's one that people saw and they were disappointed by it. So I acknowledge its existence while I question its validity, right? It wasn't very good. Still,
Yeah, but
it was much better than this one today. I don't want to spoil our review, but
no,
yeah,
you are completely right. It looks now really good now.
it does. I mean, it really does. I look back on it fondly now. I'm like, wow. But okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole list, but there's some other good stuff on here. Some little stuff I think you might like. Some of the stuff we always try to include something good in it, and I think we got one on there anyway that you're going to like. So let's start the show off with Little Mermaid. Boy, my God, this was a bad movie. They picked this person to play Ariel, and she's a different color, and she can't act. I mean, at least there's plenty of black women out there who can act, but they picked one who can't. You know, that's terrible.
Who can't act and who can't sing? Don't forget that it's a musical.
The singing's bad, but the acting's worse. I was giving her a pass on the singing. I wasn't going to say anything, although it's not good. It's better than the acting, though. It's terrible acting. I mean, it's so wooden, so badly delivered lines. I mean, Cub could do a much better job of delivering. I mean, he's not an actor, but I think anybody could.
Hey, wait a second! I'm a star in three movies.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. You actually are an actor. Maybe that's why I channeled you doing a better job.
Hey, I call myself
any of these.
I call myself director actor. That's
honestly, I would have rather see you in the Indiana Jones movie than 84-year-old Harrison Ford. I'm sorry, but you know, and at least you would have spoke back to this terrible Harridan, this awful person they saddled him with. I don't have words.
And I would be a much more funny crap in Ariel than the crap that they actually used.
It would be funny. I'm convinced it would be funny. Anybody who's watched the show knows you've got a sense of humor. It's a strange sense of humor, but it's there, and you are funny in your own way.
Yeah,
it's a mix. It's a mix of different cultures. You have your original culture with Germany and
Indiana Jones. Have you heard what Indy said to the German guy? Hey, don't try to be funny. You are German. That was the only good joke in the whole movie.
That's true. I forgot. That is funny. Y'all have a different sense of humor, but once you get used to it, it is funny. It depends on the German, you know, obviously.
Yeah,
but
they didn't even took a real German as bad German. They took this Mikkelsen guy here,
right?
Which is, I think, he's Danish. He's from Denmark, I think.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, he's brilliant.
I just tossed him into the European category, and I didn't look any closer. That's wrong of me, right?
No,
I imagine y'all guys just. I mean, the United States is bigger than Europe and stuff, and y'all just throw all of us together usually as Americans. So it's European, American. A lot of times we don't delineate into the little bitty countries. You could fit a couple of Germanys into Texas, for instance, and three United Kingdoms could fit just in Texas, and that's just one little state. We're not even the biggest state.
Yeah, there probably you could fit 20 United Kingdoms into Texas, because it's really a very, very, very small, unimportant island, and it's not really not worth mentioning. It's not an empire or something like that. It's just a shitty island next to us. We sometimes use it as a dump if we throw something into the water or something like that.
A dump?
Yeah.
Does it have good beaches? Yeah. Does it have good beaches like Galveston in the nice warm sun?
No, we never went there. They always wanted us to come over to visit them, and we always said yes, maybe. And since 80 years they're waiting that we come over, but
yeah, waiting for that visit, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now you got a tunnel. That'll make it easier.
Yeah,
that wasn't too wide.
A tunnel to French.
Oh, the French! The French are going to come up later in the show.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so back to the Little Mermaid. It's what would have made this thing better if they wanted to do a black mermaid. Just make her own person. Don't make her Ariel. Give her her own story. I think that they're actually discriminating and robbing these black actors of their own agency. They're stuck being poor copies of white people in a show. They don't have their own show. It's unfair. Yeah.
Even crazier idea. Even crazier idea. If you want to make a black mermaid, which is stupid because the original story is she is not black in the original story, and that
it would have to be a different story
no, but if you wanted to make that, then make them all black. Make all the mermaids black. Let that be the specialty, something like that. Yeah, mermaids are black in this world, and also,
or maybe just in that section of the world. I mean, it could be off Africa or something.
At least her family. Let at least her family and tribe be one country.
Yeah.
These people belong together. And also, it's not just the Little Mermaid that doesn't make any sense. And she's black. Her father is white. Her sister is Chinese. It doesn't make any sense. It's also the prince. The prince himself, he's white. His father is Pakistani. And his mother is black, I think, or something like that. So what's up with this stupidity? You have to make people kind of look not the same, but a little bit the same or similar. That they belong together.
I agree with. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I'm just saying, I think it's racist of them to just plug these black folks into these movies that people are expecting a white character, and so they're already going to be upset, and then they get the same story, but it doesn't make sense because now the character's black, and her, like you're saying, her father's white, and all this other crazy stuff. Why even do all that? Because it's wrong. Their approach is totally wrong, and in their effort to be less racist, I'm proposing that they are becoming more racist, and I don't like it. I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the singing.
Because when you use blacks, and by the way, hi Thomas, schön, dass du da bist. Here from my German moderator is.
We need him.
Yeah, Thomas, he's a very smart guy, by the way. He also speaks English and understands it, but he's just too shy to come in sometimes to come in a stream that we can could talk to him. That would be really cool if he
Yeah,
would
we
do
definitely need to do that.
Yeah. If
If there's
he's
something
willing,
he's interested in, he seems to be interested in cinema. So we could discuss some cinema with him. Maybe we've talked old cinema too. We sometimes discuss Japanese directors, and of course, Cub only likes the Japanese movies that are set in old time, right, Cub?
yes, of course, because
It's not of course. You could like some newer ones.
no, I like them because they have a kind of fantasy fairy tale element to them. Because it's like with the King Arthur legend. I probably maybe there's a possibility that it wasn't back then like we see in King Arthur or in the King Arthur legend. And in Japan, there's a possibility that it is not really like we sometimes see it in these movies about old times. But for me, this doesn't make it's not important. It's really more the legend aspect and the fairy tale aspect is for me important because it's not about exactly replicating what was going on back then. It's about the message in these kind of movies and fairy tales. For me, there are fairy tales which I just like. I like that the samurai are fighting for honor and try to protect the poor people and things like that. And with the King Arthur thing, exactly the same. And I know in reality, it's exactly on the other side. It's in reality probably they would have were killing the poor people, and with King Arthur, no monarch ever was defending his people. They were all just about themselves. I know that. It's just in my head. That's what I like. I like this.
I think you always have idealistic people, and you did have the Knights Code where they were supposed to uphold chivalry. So I think some people were like we have remembered or displayed in some of the movies. But one thing, yeah, that's a very interesting thing that I don't think all these years I don't think you've mentioned that. But I think from everything I've read and my analysis is that the Japanese did a pretty good job and they were meticulous. It was down to how many people are crossing the bridge, what are they carrying as they cross the bridge, just little minor stuff that wouldn't be a big deal. They take it very seriously when they're doing their movies like that, and yeah, the fairy tale aspect, it's an important thing. But I think one of the things you might like about the Japanese directors and stuff is their attention to detail, because you're a detail-oriented guy. And they do, I think, a good job of showing us a different culture, at least different from our Western education and upbringing. Although, I could be wrong.
No, the thing is, it really baffles me how Kurosawa, a Japanese director, got Shakespeare better. He understood Shakespeare better than many Western directors who tried a Shakespeare adaptation, and most of them are mediocre at best. A few are sticking out here, like the Polanski, Roman Polanski one, for example. But when you see how Kurosawa understood King Lear here with Run, or here this other adaptation from a famous work here with the king that died and was replaced by a nobody, but this nobody couldn't fill his shoes. Can you remember that?
Yeah, and Kurosawa was a master of lighting and the use of smoke and imagery that, God, I don't know that I can think of another one even close to him.
Yeah, it's really for me. These are for me perfect movies. 10 out of 10. Could watch them every day if I want to, and I wouldn't get bored at all because they're
Well, that's
so well done.
I just threw that out there as a possible thing we could discuss with Thomas. He might find that interesting. There's all kinds of other subjects we could go to, like modern cinema. Modern cinema is not as interesting. I mean, we try to make it interesting. We point out the flaws, and if we can find any positive stuff, we go over that. Believe me, we're looking for, I always try to find something good for y'all guys to watch. That doesn't mean that me and Cub are always going to agree with it. Last show, I recommended that he watch The Princess from 2022, which is an excellent movie. At least me and the people I've seen liked it because of the action. It's almost, it's hard to describe unless you saw it, but it does play into the modern trope of the female, defeating all the males. To me, she could have been a boy or a girl, and it didn't matter. I judged it on the merits of the movie and whether I enjoyed it. So that's why I recommended it. Cub, of course, was angered by my recommendation. He's still angered by it. He is. I'm not even sure he watched all of it.
Yes, I did. I suffered through all this crap.
Well, I'm just saying, we're out there trying and digging in a pile of crud to try and find y'all some good stuff to watch, and sometimes we don't agree on it.
And also speaking about trying, nice try, Greg, to get away from stupid Ariel and try to distract me with Kurosawa because you know exactly that I take this hook, but no, Greg.
I dangled the hook and you bit it. You took off like a giant shark. I don't know if you've done any fishing.
Greg, tell us everything about your new favorite Ariel version.
It's just bad,
Yeah, the thing is, in this version, the prince is rescued by Ariel.
That's right. She rescues him. Yeah.
The second time, in the original version, he is rescuing her the second time because he's the one who knows how to handle a ship because it's his ship. So it makes kind of sense that he knows how to handle it. But in the new version, he's not allowed. They are not allowed to be equal, and that's the stuff with this new female, powerful female characters whatsoever. They always have to be even more powerful than the men. Superior.
Right. They have to be superior. And the whole thing about feminism was supposed to be, feminism shifted from equality to superiority. Not with all of them, but with a certain sector of these feminists who have gotten control of these stories. And I'll tell you another thing about this movie. We mentioned how race swapping destroys the believability because the family is all these different colors and the other stuff we mentioned, but doing things like making her rescue him. If you remember from the first movie, his rescuing of her is part of why her father allowed them to get together. So you eliminate that. Now there's no reason he is not. It ruins the movie. For me, it makes no freaking sense.
Don't forget the little details. In this version, the humans killed her mother. Why? Or something like that. They make the humans really for some reason, and I have no clue why.
Now let's get this story straight. It's supposedly the humans who killed her mother, but he's got all these daughters around there, and none of them has a mother. So he didn't mention that you think the humans are killing off all of their mothers, or do you think it's him? Do you think he's going from one area to another? As soon as they have a kid, he kills her off, blames the humans. The humans are like the Germans in this instance. It's easy to blame the Germans for everything. So, the Germans killed your mom. That way she's mad. Now she's mad at the Germans, and the Germans are like, what?
Just let's
The
let go
Germans don't even know she exists.
the Indiana Jones road. Let's take the Nazis again as enemies. As the third time,
right.
by the way. Yeah, who can we take as enemy? Let's just take the Nazis again.
Yeah,
Great.
of course. Oh, we're gonna get to that in a minute. It keeps coming up.
But the thing
It's
is,
hard not to talk about it.
the thing is, I don't blame, for example, the third Indiana Jones that they used the Nazis again. I don't blame them as a German. Why? Because this time, the female Nazi, she became at the end kind of tried to redeem herself. She was
did.
not. She was not complete evil. They really tried to give her at least a motivation and also like here in the first one, this French guy who was not evil in the to the bones. He was also an archaeologist, but he just saw it a little bit differently. He was more after money than after the stupid artifacts, which kind of he was not totally evil or something like that.
No. And it was like in the first movie, I accepted that because I'm a historian, and the Germans actually did have little expeditions going after strange artifacts like the Spear of Destiny and stuff. So at least it was based in some sort of historical fact.
Yeah, and also I'm pretty sure every nation would go with their elite troop or whatever after something where they think it has some fantasy powers or something like that could help them to win a war. I'm pretty sure every nation would do that if they
believed it.
Yeah, if they believed it, and why shouldn't they believe it? They saw it with their they saw it with their own eyes. Lost people with.
Well, you know, on that deal, I think the Germans did get the Spear of Destiny, and their armies were victorious. And then something happened. It didn't. I don't think the legend promised that you know would always be victorious.
No,
but
Greg, they did. Yes, we got the Spear of Destiny. That's true, but we didn't get it like you think. We got it in our back.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah,
that's why it turned out this way.
Ouch! Hey, it wasn't Texas. It wasn't Texas. Germany and Texas have always gotten along well. When Texas was its own nation, it was Germany was the number one immigrant. The immigrants to Texas was Germans, and that would have continued if we hadn't hooked up with the stupid Yankees. I think it would have been a better history. If alternate history, if Texas had joined up with Germany, can you imagine that?
Yeah, and also we are pretty sure it was some kind of Democrat or something like that who pulled us the knife in the back.
It could be.
Yeah.
Well, y'all have your own Democrats, social Democrats or something. I don't know. I'm not an expert on German politics.
Yeah,
got way too many parties. Yeah. Too many parties. Yeah. The way they control you is they split you up into all these little bitty groups. It's better to have just a couple of them and then switch back and forth between them. It's difficult.
There's a turn on that, and we're talking about it in the news section at the end.
Okay.
Give an update on what's going on in Europe.
Yeah, we're an entertainment stream, but we also cover some news. A little bit here and there, just to keep y'all guys informed. In case aliens. If aliens were to attack and land at the White House, we would let y'all know. Probably. Maybe. Okay, so I think we've covered Little Mermaid and lots of other. And Little Mermaid apparently includes Japanese directors and all kinds of information from the Indiana Jones movie. We went all over the place we always do.
Greg, there are other Disney flops we have to cover. This was just one of them.
Right.
Because this
And
is
it did very bad.
a Disney bomb stream. We are covering so many Disney bombs. I think the last 4 movies from Disney totally bombed at the box office. Is that
Oh
true?
yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. They're and there's some big bombs. I mean, they're losing a lot of money. It's not small.
Yeah.
From what I see on Indiana Jones, it's a budget of $350 million plus $150 million on marketing. So that's $500 million, and the theater gets half of it. So my math says they got to make $1 billion just to break even.
Yes, and they are losing with every of these their stupid movies. They are losing kind of 100 or 200 million at least. And we have Lightyear, we have Strange World, we have here this a new one, Elemental, which we are going to
everything they
drop.
I mean, they're
Indiana Jones,
and their stock is dropping. So we might actually see a change. There are rumors that Kathleen Kennedy, we've never mentioned Kathleen Kennedy's name all these years. I don't remember mentioning it, but she's the head of Lucasfilm, and there are now rumors that they're going to fire her. You know, all the stuff she's done wrong, and now this Indiana Jones thing. I would love to see that. Man, she's losing them so much money.
Yeah, Lucasfilm, the track record of Lucasfilm is the worst. I think Lucasfilm has destroyed its own reputation. Now people are assuming if something comes from Lucasfilm, it's going to be a bomb because
and that
of
goes
the
into
low quality.
Exactly, and also because of how they're treating the characters. For instance, making Luke Skywalker into this deconstructed, milk-slocking, I don't even know what I would call him.
And also separating every Harrison Ford character gets separated from his wife because of the son, and the son goes rogue, like in The Last Jedi, or the son dies in Vietnam, like in Indiana Jones 5. So every Harrison Ford character gets demolished, and we get as a result a sad version of it.
Well, that's because they're controlled by Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm destroyed Han Solo. It made him into a deadbeat dad who gets murdered by his son. That's what it did. Yeah. That when you break it down, he was so stupid he couldn't find his spaceship for a year. Didn't know where he left it. That's ridiculous. These things have
20 years, not for a year.
Devices.
I think
we know the Empire put a tracking device on that, so he could always just follow the Empire's tracking device. But so they're deconstructing their male characters, and they're doing it, and they don't care about the losses of money. Normally, if we were to get into why all this was happening, it's BlackRock, and they're pushing this. So without getting into all that, that's why they're encouraged, let's say, to deconstruct any type of heroic male figure. And that's what they've done, but it's not going over well with the people. I mean, women don't want to see this stuff. They're supposedly trying to appeal to women. I don't know any women who like
which is a lie. Which is a lie. Please, if you want to appeal to women, you take a shirtless, good-looking man as bait.
And they also, women like to see other good-looking women up there on the screen. They don't want to see some woman in a dumpy. They'd like to see something nice. Movie stars. All the women I know, they're not frightened by or intimidated by a good-looking woman on the screen. They go along good with it.
You mean good-looking woman? They want to see good-looking women like this women here from Indiana Jones 5.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to go into that movie. So MM's in the chat, and so is Cat Claw. Hi MM, Movie Massacre Show. You're welcome to come on. I think Cub sent everybody a link if y'all want to jump
Yeah,
on. Hi, Cat.
yeah, that,
We were just
uh,
getting through with the first deal, Little Mermaid, and we're moving to probably
uh,
Spider-Verse 2.
yes,
But
for some reason, Greg wants to move away, swim away from the Little Mermaid for some reason.
yeah,
Tries to escape the Little Mermaid.
Escape the Little Mermaid. Hey, we spent 30 minutes on the very first show, so we have to move along. I think we've said everything except I'm giving it thumbs down. What about you?
Oh, for me, 2 thumbs down.
2 thumbs down. Okay, well that worked. Okay, so here's one I didn't get a chance to see. It's Across the Spider-Verse Part 2. So
Oh
what's going
yeah.
on with that? I will interview you since I didn't see it and you did. What is this movie about, Cub?
So it's not about Miles Morales, man, or because I'm not going to call him Spider-Man because he's not Spider-Man. If you want to call him something like that, he's Spider-Boy at first, but he is not even that because the movie starts with 20 minutes without Miles Morales, man. It's about Spider-Gwen. She has the first 20 minutes of the movie for herself.
Who?
Spider-Gwen. This girl.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen this.
In some alternate reality, Gwen Stacy became Spider-Man because Peter Parker he made an experiment on himself to no, the spider was biting her instead of him or something like that, and then in this reality Peter Parker became the lizard but died. Yeah, became the lizard but died because script says so, and that's the reason why Spider-Gwen is single. And she's the Spider-Man Gwen or whatever in this reality. And Miles
All right,
Morales
I'm confused, but go ahead.
Yeah, Miles Morales is in love with her, and that's why I was joking in my review about the first part. Here, Miles Morales man into the Spider-Gwen, because that was the first movie was about that. He tried to get into her pants. And the second one is exactly the same. He tries to get into her pants, and unsuccessfully, by the way. First minutes are about her, and then we get introduced to Spider-Man, to Spider-Boy, whatever, and it's about a guy who is the whole guy who makes holes into reality, and then can, for example, I don't know, have you seen the trailer?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a guy who can make holes, and when for example, he makes a hole where he wants to push a bank automat into here, a money automat, and
ATM.
ATM. Yeah, he wants to because his holes, you push something into the hole and then it appears somewhere else from another hole, kind of like that. And he himself is kind of a hole because he was a scientist, and something exploded and he became the whole man or something like that. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe in German. In English, it's for me impossible to describe.
Well, I'm glad I'm forcing you to try. It's the only way you're going to learn and grow, Cub.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm mentioning him because he's the main antagonist, kind of. Because Spider-Boy is ignoring him or making fun of him, and this is hurting his ego so much that he, thanks to what some kind of another experimental thing, whatever, becomes more powerful, and it turns out that he's going to kill Miles Morales' father, the lieutenant or whatever, in the future. We know that because Spider-Gwen is together with her with other Spider-Man from different dimensions, is a kind of time squad, because there is a whole Spider-Verse which is just from Spider-Man. And every Spider-Man from every Spider-Verse kind of is there, and Miles Morales is not allowed to be part of the team. And
like like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he wasn't allowed to be, part of the reindeer.
Exactly for the same reasons, by the way, because it turns out, and I'm going to spoil the ending because this is a part one. This is a two-parter, and it's anyway just part one. So at the end, it turns out that Miles Morales is the anomaly. He is the reason why everything is collapsing. And so they have
to kill him?
No, they don't have to kill him. They want to prevent him to save his father. Because his father has to get killed, or the universe is collapsing or something like that.
No, it's like on Star Trek, City on the Edge of Forever. If Kirk didn't let the woman die, the Nazis would win.
Which I don't see. I have never understood this episode, Greg. What's the problem with that?
Well, apparently, apparently people considered him a little grumpy. The 1940s Nazis, were grumpy.
Yeah,
I shouldn't even use that word. I guess I need to come up with a different word because YouTube doesn't like it. But we can't even make jokes or make references to Star Trek episodes.
But as I said, here in Germany, we never understood why Kirk couldn't save the woman. For us Germans, we couldn't understand that. But
man, all y'all needed to do was go back and save her. All that other effort was unnecessary. Just save that chick and y'all be fine.
Yes, that's it. And so, as I said, it turns out that Miles Morales kind of is the problem himself. He wants to save his father, but he's not allowed to. And the other Spider-Man.
So this is very similar to the freaking Flash movie.
Yes.
Script.
Exactly.
Because he's going back to save his mom, and doing that causes everything to collapse. Right?
Yes.
It's the same thing. Stupid, same script on both of them. That's the best they can do.
It's even more stupid than that, because it seems like Miles Morales himself is the anomaly, because he was bitten not from a spider from his universe. He was bitten from a spider from a different universe, which caused that in that universe, the Peter Parker couldn't be bitten by the spider, because this stupid spider has bitten Miles, and that's kind of the source of all the problems. Because
there's no Spider-Man in that universe, and that causes an imbalance.
Yeah,
or there's a different Spider-Man, so a different one.
No, there's no Spider-Man in that one, but the thing is, this is such a stupid logic which they are going after, because they are pretending that every universe has to have his Spider-Man, because he is kind of the key of the universe, and this whole Spider-Verse, everything has to be go like it should go. Uncle Ben has to die in every version, and Mary Jane and here Gwen Stacy also has to die, or something like that. I don't know. The logic, it doesn't make any sense, because after the logic of them, also Spider-Gwen shouldn't exist. So it really doesn't make any sense. And also, they say that there's a big spider or something like that that sets the rules or something like that. I can't explain you that, Greg, because it doesn't make any sense. I didn't understand it myself. The thing is, he's of course superior to all Spider-Man, all of them, to all Spider-Man in existence. There's no Spider-Man that can keep up with him because he can also make himself invisible. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Invisible?
I forgot that also. For some reason, he has some extra powers. He has not just the Spider-Man powers. He can also make
because
himself
he's
invisible.
from the other universe or something? Or the spider was from the other universe. I'm getting confused. I didn't see the movie.
The thing is, he's conveniently overpowered. Here, Miles Morales, man. He's conveniently overpowered that he is superior to all other Spider-Man ever, and especially he is superior than Peter Parker. And Peter Parker shows up in his morning dress, in a here, not red, here what gay people were, pink. In his pink morning dress with his house shoes and a baby.
What?
Yes, he's carrying a baby constantly with him.
Spider-Man, Peter Parker?
Yeah.
He's in a pink house dress?
Yes.
Slippers, carrying a baby?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, but Greg, you thought for a second that I'm making fun of you or not when I said that? That I'm making a joke as usual, or making that just up because it's so ridiculous or not?
Yeah, I'm just stunned. I'm not able to process it. Yeah,
it's
it was
true.
to.
Greg,
it was to humiliate. It was to humiliate him the way they did Thor.
Yes, he didn't. He didn't.
You remember the last Thor movie, whatever it was, Love and Thunder. They specifically humiliated him. We may have talked about it. I don't remember.
It's much worse than that, Greg, because he's married to Mary Jane and she's alive, and he brings the baby with him. He doesn't let the baby stay with the mother. And we're talking about a little baby. We're not talking about a child or something like that.
Well, when you were young, you probably went off on adventures as well.
Yeah, but we are talking about
maybe not that young, huh?
We are talking about a baby that is not even able to walk, but is swinging around and things like that because it's Spider Baby.
I don't know. Oh, of course, the spider angle. This is confusing. Well,
yeah, and there's also a black woman, woman that is pregnant and is driving around on her motorcycle with spider powers. Which
okay, so I'll read a little bit from the chat. Movie Massacre said that's a shame. He liked the first one. He says it sounds very rushed. And he says because F men, that's why. And Catclaw is laughing. Probably at your joke.
And I didn't make any jokes. That's the truth. I know it sounds like I made it up or something like that.
It does. It sounds like you made all that up. Now, I'm not saying you did. I'm sure, at least in your mind, you think it happened.
Yeah, couldn't believe my eyes either. And the thing is, I like the first Spider-Verse one. Even if I can't stand Miles Morales as Spider-Man, but I thought, okay, if I see it as a satire, an alternate version / satire on Spider-Man, then I can enjoy it. And this is exactly what I said in my review, by the way, for the first one. And also the first one still treated Peter Parker with respect. It didn't completely treat him like a loser or something like that, because yes, he was at the beginning he was kind of letting himself go and became lazy, but then they trained together and he was again in shape and so on. So I'm forgiving that treatment, because at the end he still was the Spider-Man we know, the Peter Parker version. But in this one, no. They completely destroyed his character completely. And Miles Morales, as I said, he beats all of them. Hundreds of thousands of Spider-Man with zero chance against him, because for some reason he also can energize up and throw an energy ball that everybody flies through the air. If you understand what I mean.
Not really. I didn't see it, and it sounds confusing.
It's like the Hulk. When he becomes angry or whatever, then he can. He's full of energy. Here, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and then it makes whoosh, and I don't know. I can't describe it. Sorry, it's what I saw on the screen. Yeah,
it happens when he gets angry, like the Hulk or something.
I guess I'm not, because these are special powers. These are not Spider-Man power. These are not Spider-Man powers, as I said. And Miles Morales has some of them. I don't know how many powers he has. If there's even more from these hidden powers that every time just show up when script needs them. Because in the first one, it wasn't that way. Maybe he got them in between. I don't know. Yeah, but and that's where the movie ends, because the movie ends when it starts. The first 20 minutes are waste of time, where we see kind of origin story from Spider-Gwen, which nobody cares about, and then we have, as I said, and then the movie ends. Then he escapes the Spider-Verse.
And another comment from Movie Massacre, he's talking about the anti-male culture, and I told him there'd be a backlash coming against it. He says he agrees, and men can't say anything. It was Men's Mental Health Month last month, and nobody cared. I didn't even hear anything about it. And then
who should tell you about it? The mainstream? They hate men the most.
Yeah, it's weird, man. You know, normal people aren't like that. It's and women aren't like that, except the ones who are in charge of our entertainment, and that's going to backfire on them. We're no longer going to their movies. I don't go to most movies now, where I used to go 2 or 3 movies a month. So they killed they've killed a big part of their audience. And it's starting to show up. It's showing up in the box office. It's not because of the pandemic. It's because of how they make their movie.
Yeah, but I don't understand, Greg.
I wanted to ask. Hang on. I want to ask Kat and MM if the audio on Cub's new headset is working good for y'all. Can y'all hear him? Is everything good on y'all's end? It's good for me, but Cub has got a wireless freaking headset. You know, he sent off to Switzerland or somewhere, and it's made of gold. And he says he has cut his string.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat says it sounds good.
I got my organization to build up the new Fourth Reich. Got funding from the US, 200 Reichsmark from a rich oil tycoon here from Texas, an anonymous oil tycoon from Texas, and so I spent these
somebody connected with the oil industry.
Yeah,
Reichsmark, huh?
Yeah. So again, we got funding from the US. Now we can build the next Reich. Yeah, like 80 years ago. So What was our subject matter again?
And the audio sounds good according to both of them. Now, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just wanted to. What were we talking about, gang? The
uh,
spider movie.
yeah, Miles Morales Man too.
Ah,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. It's crap, unwatchable for me, and it's not because of the yeah, the style is also different than the first one, which I'm not really not mad about it. I don't think it's an improvement to have. They have many different styles for all the Spider-Man and so on, but also for the movie itself, they have different styles. Uh, I don't know. Uh, for me, it was not unnecessary because it makes the scenes. Uh, there's too much going on that you can to keep up with what is going on. The editing on this one is also, I think, it's worse than the first one. In the first one, at least I could clearly see what is going on. With this one, there's really many things going on, and the thing is, everything going on in the background is more interesting than what is going on in the main story. The main characters and the main story are the least interesting things about that, and that's never a good sign. I can tell you, because they should entertain you for 2.5 hours, or I don't know, think 2 hours, but it felt really long, and it's still just part one, as I said. So for me, two thumbs down. I hated this movie because disrespect to Peter Parker. That's the best way to make an enemy for me. If you show disrespect to my favorite superhero, then you have fucked up completely. So no.
No, that makes sense. That's fair. I didn't see it, so I will withhold judgment and give you my judgment when I see it. Okay, so the next one is a nice little monster movie that Cub turned me on to called Boogeyman. It's a monster in the closet type movie.
Yeah, and a Stephen King, supposedly a Stephen King adaptation from Night Shift. Yeah, but yeah,
Okay, so
Greg.
we got Rob Savage, who directed the Host in 2020. He directed this movie, and the Host I thought was pretty good. Did you see the Host? His other movie?
Don't
It
know
was
what.
kind of a. It was from 2020. It was only a little over an hour. It was on. Oh
No,
God,
I
what's
didn't
that?
see it.
That horror channel or something? But he
No.
directed that. It was kind of a found footage movie. So if I was to guess, Cub would have not liked it, but
No.
it was actually okay.
Okay, but
And
this one.
he's the director of this. Go ahead, Cub. I was giving them some vital background information that you might have skipped
Uh,
over.
yeah, and now let's talk about the background information that you might have skipped over if I wouldn't jump in here, because
Uh-huh.
let's talk about Night Shift, the Night Shift collection, the short story collection. Greg, were you able to read that from Stephen King? It's a short story collection. It was the subject of my last video.
No,
My last review.
I think I've got the book somewhere around here, but I don't think I got to read it. If I did, it
Ah,
was a long time ago. I've read thousands and thousands of books, Cub. I
yeah,
don't remember
but
all of them.
Greg, I'm pretty sure you have read it, because I think you know most of the short stories. You know them because one of them, for example, is Trucks. Here, the short story Maximum Overdrive is based on.
Okay, right?
Yeah, and also the movie Night Shift, here with the rats, uh, uh, is also one of the short stories in this book.
Yeah, it
So
sounds familiar, but I mean, I don't
yeah,
remember it. Are you saying it's the same story?
uh, that's the problem. The problem is there was already an adaptation, and it was called. It came out with the woman in the room, and the Boogeyman. These two movies came out as Night Shift collection. Just two movies. And the woman in the room, by the way, is the one from Frank Darabont, if you can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Frank
So, I
Darabont.
mean, are we sure this is connected to the Stephen King short story?
Yes.
What
Yes.
what tells us that is true, other than Cub making the assertion?
No, the thing is, you kind of have to read the short story or watch the first adaptation of the short story, which is also called Boogeyman, and you can watch it as it came out as a videotape with two of these short stories.
Okay, but you didn't tell me all this before the stream. You didn't say we needed to watch and read all this other stuff. All you did was put Boogeyman 2022 in there.
Yes, because I said all of that in my Night Shift review from Wednesday. So
That's
I
true.
assumed that
I was at the beach Wednesday.
Yeah,
I was fighting ghosts. I was at the beach fighting ghosts.
Going to the beach instead of watching this important review. That's I was suspecting. Hey, I was suspecting more.
You know where I was. I had to escape. It was so hot. It's still like 102 degrees or whatever. That you know what's strange? Now the Germans, y'all are all so precise and everything. Okay, 101 degrees. Do you know what that is in Celsius?
I don't know, 20.
Yeah, you're close. 40.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and what is 102 degrees Fahrenheit? That's 40 Celsius too. And what is 103 degrees Fahrenheit? You want to guess? 40.
41.
It's 40. They're all 40. It's crazy. You've got this imprecise measuring system. Everything is the same deal. Probably if I checked another 3 or 4 degrees, it would all still be, 40. It's crazy. I'm saying that your measurement system is illogical because it's less accurate. That's why, if you remember my wonderful video I did on the Mars probe parody, that's why y'all's freaking European landers always crash. More than likely, you're using this Celsius and these other metric measurements that are so imprecise. You need to come back to imperial so your spaceships will do better. That's just a sidebar that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So let's go. That was the interesting part, and now let's go back to the boring part. Let's talk about the stupid Boogeyman. So the Boogeyman, the story is about a man he has 3 children, and he's afraid of a Boogeyman, and is talking to his shrink about this problem because he lost all 3 children. He's telling him how he lost his children to a Boogeyman for some reason. His children wanted protection from him, but he was afraid himself too much. And even the last child that the Boogeyman took, he kind of offered it even, that he got spared. And then in this story from Stephen King, it turns out that the Boogeyman, that the shrink is the Boogeyman himself. And that's how the story ends. The shrink turns into the Boogeyman and kills. I guess it kills the guy who is called Lester, by the way. And that's I think Lester or Lester Cummings or something like that. That's his name in this short story. And that's the connection to the movie. Because I'm
going to have to go back and watch your video.
Yeah,
so I'll do that after the stream.
Yeah, because the thing is, the movie starts at this point, at the where this Lester Cummings is talking to the shrink. That's where the movie starts, and he's telling him about his 3 children that he lost. On this supposed Boogeyman. And then the shrink lets him alone It's in his private home. And by the way, the shrink has lost his wife and has 2 daughters. And yeah, that's how the movie starts. But this guy, he kills himself, and after he hangs himself in the closet, and after that, the boogeyman shenanigans start. So this Lester Cummings or whatever, this guy who kills himself at the start of the movie, he's supposed to be the guy from the short story.
Got it.
So that now you have the connection to the short story.
Okay.
That's the connection.
All right. I got you.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because the shrink is not the boogeyman. The boogeyman is just
So another poor adaptation of a Stephen King short story.
It's not an adaptation at all, from my point of view. Because first off, what did you think about the movie in general? Because you saw it maybe without knowing about the original short story.
It was okay. I mean, I like the monster design, and the action was okay. Yeah, the acting was subpar a little bit, but I give it maybe a B minus.
Tell me,
I mean,
please,
of the movies that we have to look at today, it was my favorite, I think.
Okay, let's change that. Greg, tell me which role are playing the men in this movie. What roles are they playing? Can you describe characteristics of the man? Because there are some men in the movie, and what are they? How are they? How would you describe them? There are not many, but a few.
I don't know. It's hard to come up with a good word on the spot.
Yeah, but Greg, you recognize that it's all about women.
Weak.
Yeah, but you recognize that the movie is all about women. And,
yeah, well, the men are weak. They don't act as a normal man would.
The men were weak.
It's hard to put other than weak of character, weak of spirit, weak of everything.
Yeah, and also
Boogie.
And also, first off, the first man kills himself because he's so afraid, or maybe the boogeyman kills him. We don't know. He hangs.
Yeah, that's very weak.
They find him hanging in the closet, but also he introduces himself. No, first off, we get introduced to the shrink, who is a sad little fuck who's mourning about his dead wife and is not there for his daughters. So he's a bad father.
Right.
That's how we get introduced to the shrink. So this is a weak man. Then we get introduced to.
I picked the right word. Yeah, they're all weak.
Yeah, and then we get introduced to the Lester guy here from this short story, who is weak, who's even written weak in the original story, who's a weak fuck anyway, and then
plug him into 2022, and what do you get?
Yeah, and I think that's it with the men. Are there more men in the movie? Because now it's just about the women. Even they team up with a made-up wife of this Lester guy, and the daughter with the made-up wife are kind of hunting the boogeyman, or teaming up together or whatever against the boogeyman, and at the end, they even kind of defeat him by burning him or whatever, and so the men are just there for bad characteristics, and of course they are in the title as the bad guy because it's called boogeyman and not boogie woman.
All right.
So men are just serving the purpose for everything negative, and that's why this movie sucks.
Okay. So I guess you're not going to recommend it.
Hell no.
Man, you sound different without your strings.
Yeah. There are no strings
You're more
attached anymore.
animated, right?
Yeah.
No strings holding Cub back now. He's
Yeah.
cutting loose.
Yeah. Now I can.
Okay, so I'm going to give it a thumbs down too. I wasn't so much worried. The men, weren't that good, but the monster was okay. If you like monster movies, this is not a good one, but it's better than nothing. It's better than the other movies on my list. It's better than The Flash. It's better than Indiana Jones. It's better than all of this.
I'm just so sick of showing men like that. I'm just so sick of it because
I understand. I do understand. It gets to where I just turn it off when I see that now. God, it's the same story over and over and over. I would rather see. Why can't they just have had a normal life and not be connected with? They've got to be a bad father. What if they had a life and never had kids? They just lived their lives and they didn't get married and they didn't have kids. Couldn't they? There's nobody like that, who's happy in any kind of movie nowadays. It's weird. And if they do have kids, then the kids hate them. And God, you're just going to keep telling that story over and over and over. It does get old. I see why it upsets you, but that's why I wasn't going to emphasize that whole angle. I was going to talk about monsters. Because I like monster movies. So if you like monster movies and you don't like Indiana Jones being run down and you don't like The Flash and God's Little Mermaid, it's the best movie on this list. I'm sorry, but all the other movies are terrible. Even though this one's bad, it's not as bad as these other things. Isn't that terrible?
This one, it's so sad.
I put a star by it. I always pick one as my favorite, and even though I didn't like it, it was better than the rest of these things.
Yeah, but it's not the best movie on the list because Elemental is the best movie on the list.
We don't have Elemental on the list. You didn't give me that.
Okay, did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen Elemental. Why would I watch that? It wasn't on the list. It isn't something that I'm interested in. So the only reason I'd watch that is for the stream.
We can just fast include it because there's not much to say about it. It's just a decent love story. That's all. It's just about water and fire. They got in love, and at the end they get together, and everybody's saying no, it doesn't fit. Elements can't mix together. It's about these four elements: water, fire, wind, and dirt, and they are supposed to represent ethnicities, I guess, and they start out like they can't. They are too different. We can't live together. We would destroy each other or something like that. And the end message is: if you try, you can. Most of these things are just myths, which I really don't mind. It's for me not. It was not woke or anything like that. It was just a harmless love story, which I would never watch voluntarily, and I will never watch again. But I would lie if I would say it was a bad movie, because the only thing it's bombing, it's because of the two movies before that. It's because of Strange World and Lightyear, which both suck dick and are god awful woke SJW crap.
Well, that's surprising. I thought this was going to be a bad movie because of the last two movies. So it did very poorly at the box office. But you're saying it's the best one. You like it better than Boogeyman, for instance.
Yeah, because it's not a bad movie. It's not my kind of movie. It's nothing that I'm interested in or want to watch or something like that. But I have to be fair. And this is not a bad movie. In fact, if I would have children, this is even one I would show them. because
Wow.
it's completely harmless. As I said, it's an immigration. It's about immigration, which, of course, you can say, yeah, if it supports immigration, it's still this is a bad thing. How they use the immigration weapon to destroy societies nowadays, I know, but still, I would give this movie a pass because it's really not about that. It's really just a love story, and that's all. Two different ethnics that come together. It's really like Romeo or Juliet, or here West Side Story
Well,
fits
that's
here.
cool. So
Fits
just
better.
a good little show. That's nice.
So
So we
that's
can recommend that.
yeah, and of course it's stupid here with the logic, physics, and so on. Doesn't make any sense. But really, it's just I was. It didn't make me mad. So mad. I say, oh no, that is illogical or something like that. No, it's sweet. It's sweet. Yeah, it was. Didn't fast forward any parts of it, which means much nowadays on movies. You know
Oh yeah, that's true.
that.
Well, it's the woke stuff that ruins a lot of movies nowadays.
Yeah, and it ruins future movies, like we see with this one, because normally this should have been a kind of a success, just to show that if they aren't woke, that they have success. But people gave up on Disney, and especially on Pixar, and that's now the result. If Pixar would, even if Pixar would make a Toy Story, a good Toy Story movie, it would bomb, just because people were so shocked by Strange World, which really the worst. It was so bad.
So you're
And
saying they poison the well, and it doesn't matter
yes,
what they do.
they have destroyed. Pixar has destroyed its brand. Back then, a Pixar movie was a big deal. If you can remember,
Oh yeah,
something from
and parents
Pixar.
parents were able
Yeah.
to count on that being a good movie for their kids. Now they don't know if it's going to be injected with a bunch of woke
Yeah.
politics, and
Yes.
honestly they know it's probably is going to be injected with it. I mean,
Yes.
one movie that's not and like you say, even this one, you said it has an immigration message, and let's go back to the dangers of immigration, Cub. Let's take us
Yeah.
back to the early 1800s when the Mexicans decided to let a bunch of white people immigrate to Texas. That didn't work out too well for them. They let in these crazy white people and they created Texans.
Yeah. The thing is, that the story is an allegory for immigration. That is also kind why it's broke the neck of the movie, because people suggested or thought, oh no, now they try to sell us this immigration thing as a good thing, but we see here in the reality that they're using immigration as a weapon against the society that is already there, like they do here in Europe and also here in Germany, and so this message, this is really the worst timing to put out this movie, because it's really harmless. It's really not about that all ethnics should mix together and forget their where they come from. It's really not about that. It's really just a sweet little love story. That's all. There's nothing more to it. Uh,
Hmm.
and and of course they use fire and water just to say, oh, they're so different, like fire and water, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see, where that would be a problem getting together.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're
And it
water and
doesn't.
she's fire.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense that they can get together, because
No,
the physics in this one really don't really make sense. But
no.
it, but really, when you just see it as a love story, it kind of works. because they use all these things that don't work together for jokes or things like that. But it's really not.
Okay, so you're
It,
giving Elemental a thumbs up, and I haven't seen it.
I give it a thumbs to the side because it's not my movie. I would never watch something like that if it wouldn't be for the stream.
So it's a
But I didn't.
neutral.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. It's not bad. I'm saying it's not a bad movie. It's probably okay if I would like this kind of movies, but I don't like CGI crap anyway. You know that.
That's true.
No? But I want to just be fair. And
Okay,
this
well,
doesn't
that's good.
deserve a thumbs down. It doesn't deserve a thumbs down.
Okay, thumbs sideways from the Cub. And, you gave it kind of a recommendation. So here we go. I guess we'll move on to the next one, which is Transformers,
Oh!
the new Transformers movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is all yours, Greg. This is all yours.
Okay, so this is the Beast Wars, like from the Beast Wars cartoons of the 90s. Now, I didn't really watch any of those. I've seen some of the cartoons from the 80s, like the. Did you ever see the 1986? I know you have. I've seen your reviews. The 1986 animated Transformers movie.
Yes,
That
of course.
Yeah, that was good, and I like Bumblebee. Now we've got a new director on this one. Of course, Bumblebee had a different director too. We're moving away from the Michael Bay time frame of these Transformer movies. To me, the '86 animated one and Bumblebee are two of the best out. The Michael Bay ones were pretty hard to watch and just
Yeah,
not that good.
with the animated one, I agree. Bumblebee, I couldn't stand. Not, but for different reasons. I'm not a Transformers fan or something like that, and not a Bumblebee fan. I couldn't stand it from for technical aspects, for movie making aspects. I couldn't stand it for storytelling aspects and movie making aspects. Like for somebody who has nothing to do with Transformers and has to watch it, it was not really interesting. I have to say, for me personally, I know it's much better than the Michael Bay crap. Yeah, but for
Yeah, it
example, the
was a
music
definite
choices.
improvement over the Michael Bay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
For me, really the only watchable stuff is the '86 animated and the Bumblebee movie was okay. It was a refreshing change, a move in the right direction, and this moves also in the better direction. It's better than the Michael Bay movies. Um, you know, it's a Transformers movie, so it's shallow. Um, it's got a bad final act, but the first 2/3 of the movie are okay. Better than previous ones. None of the Transformer
Yeah.
movies are good, but when ranking them, this one it goes with the other two that are better than the Michael Bay. Okay, it's not really worth talking about the plot and all that.
Yeah, but Greg, I wouldn't say.
There are a bunch of
I
MacGuffins.
I
They go
agree,
searching for them. It's just a
Greg.
bunch of
Uh,
searching
Greg,
for stupid stuff.
Greg.
It's
Uh,
ridiculous.
I would say, as somebody who is not a Transformers fan, I would say it's not better than the first Transformers. The first Transformers, even from Michael Bay, is better as a movie and more interesting as a movie than this fifth one. But it's
Well, maybe
better than.
it's been a long time since I saw it. Maybe you're right.
But it's of course better than all the continuations. It's better than the second one, the third one, and so on. They're all crap, and I even no, would say the Bumblebee movie is better than this one. So I would rank it after. If we would say the animated one is the best one, after that I would say the Michael Bay one, the first one. After that I would say this one.
And then Bumblebee.
No, after Bumblebee, and after that this one. So from the decent one ones is it's the worst from the
I
decent
think you're right. I probably
ones.
wasn't being fair to the first Michael Bay movie, but the rest of them are trash, and I just kind of lumped them together.
Yeah, and the problem with Transformers in general is my problem with all Transformers movies, besides the animated ones, is that they don't have any transformations. These transformations are a cheat. And I said that back then for the very first Transformers movie, which disappointed me because of that. Because, Greg, I don't understand why people are taking this shit. We see how a transformation looks like when we see Mad Mission 2, for example. Because
Right.
it has this robot scene in it with Transformers. It has things that transform into other things, and they are all real. So the transformations are real. It's not googly goop that changes in something else, which I don't care for. This is the same effect like the T1000. It can change in everything, and it doesn't make any sense from the size or whatever. It changes in small car, in a big car, and even in a plane, which didn't make any sense. Or didn't you think so, Greg?
No.
So I feel every time cheated when I watch these Transformers movies, because what I want to see is a transformation.
Yeah. Right.
It's a real transformation. They have to put the work, the effort in there. And I don't care if they show this transformation in reality, like in Mad Mission 2, or if they show it with CGI effects. But just by using CGI effects doesn't mean you don't have to show the transformation.
It's like the werewolf movies of the early '80s. When you would see these the Howling or something, a lot, the transformation from human to werewolf was a huge part of the show. That was the major thing that people would remember.
Yeah, and even if you make it with CGI, you have to show how the hair grows. For example, you have to show every hair that is growing, that it looks believable as a transformation for a werewolf. And when you use CGI but you don't show that, then it's like with Transformers. It doesn't make any sense. It's cheating, and I feel cheated. And so I don't care for any of the transformations. But if you don't care for the transformations in a movie that is called Transformers,
Yeah, that's a
then the
bad
movie
sign, huh?
that's a bad sign. It's like if you would watch a James Bond movie but wouldn't care for the gadgets that he uses.
Yeah.
The half of the fun is gone directly. When you don't care at all for the gadgets, then it doesn't make any sense to watch it even.
Yeah. There was one other thing. If you noticed, the primary character, he had a younger brother who was sick. And when he went off on this adventure, he didn't bring his brother, which you might expect him to. Instead, he ran into some girl, and then the girl becomes the second focus. I think they missed. I think they missed an opportunity, like they did in Mario Brothers, to have like a brothers adventure and to have a tighter bond. He's supposed to have this tight bond with this girl he just met that afternoon, where it would make the story would be better, in my opinion. Is the relationship between brothers who've known each other their whole lives, and especially with one being sick. And I think they purposely did the Mario Brothers. You notice how they took the one brother out really early in the movie and had him be captured the whole time. That should have been a brothers adventure, and this one should too. So I think they purposely did that because they were males, and they just messed up in both cases.
We can't.
It would have been a better movie. Mario Brothers would have been a better movie.
Nowadays, Greg, we are not allowed to see something like that. We can't have that anymore.
The movie's called Mario Brothers, and then it knocks one of them out. I mean, it's ridiculous. and the same thing here in this movie. They had two brothers, and instead they just brought in this side character, and immediately I didn't buy the relationship. So whereas the two brothers, I would have.
She's not even a love interest or something like that. There's nothing between them, and also the story itself. So why? First off, they trust this human guy, and then the human becomes exactly the traitor. Where they think, where they said, "Hey, you can't trust humans," and he's exactly acting like that and saying, "Yeah, we have to destroy it." And did you recognize that we have the same story like Howard the Duck?
No, I didn't until you mentioned that.
Yes, because you think about it. We have an alien that wants to get home with a thing, with a MacGuffin, but by using that, it would also bring other aliens that are not friendly and would destroy Earth. So he has to destroy his way home, and it's exactly the same story. Because the aliens don't want the other aliens to invade the Earth, and so they destroy it. Here, Megatron, or what's his name, destroys it at the end.
Right.
And this is Howard the Duck, and that's what. And I knew from the get. I
did not expect you to pull. I did not expect you to pull out a Howard the Duck reference.
This movie, I knew from the first second it had zero tension for me, because I knew they have to destroy this device that could bring them back, and there were no Transformer stories anymore. And also, it's set in the past, so they couldn't. If they would have succeeded, the new Transformers movies couldn't have happened.
Yeah, that's true.
They would have.
You can't bring logic into one of these things. You don't really bring logic into Transformers movies.
Yeah, but to keep our tension, why set it in the past? And then this kind of story where everybody with two brain cells knows from the first minute, but they can't succeed. First off, the bad guy isn't going to win. That's for sure. Because then Earth would be destroyed or whatever. It would change history. It's set in the past, the story. And also, of course, the good guys can't have their device. So there was no story.
Okay, I think we've got enough of this. Is it thumbs up or down?
It's a thumbs down from me because, as I said, I thought it was boring. It had no real story. I still think it's better than the continuations of the first Transformers. But this means nothing because it is such a low bar. For me, there's no, besides of the animated Transformers, I don't like the other ones anyway. So they're all bad for me. And we are just talking about how bad are they.
I know.
Thumbs down for me anyway.
I guess I'm going to go thumb sideways on this one, like you did that one. I didn't even know we had a thumb sideways option, but because I don't want to give it a thumbs down, and I don't want to give it a thumbs up. Okay, so let's go on to the next. It's The Flash, and I've got a note here. It says, "Cub will love the heartwarming cameos." Is that right?
First off, it's a bad movie, yes, but still, and I hate Ezra Miller, of course, but I still thought it was entertaining, at least.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, the more Ezra is on the screen, the less I liked it. The more other people were on the screen, I didn't think I was going to like the Supergirl, but she's okay. They should have had more of her. And
she was much
what would have been
than Ezra Miller. She was much better than Ezra. I didn't hate her at all. I thought,
I know.
Yeah,
I,
she's
I
really.
and I went into it
She was.
expecting, because they were gonna, if people who don't know, they were gonna replace Batman with Batgirl, Superman with Supergirl, and then they were gonna have Wonder Woman, and that was gonna be the big three. And then they shot the Batwoman movie and they put it on the shelf and they did away with that plan. And then they decided not to do the Supergirl movie. So I think this is going to be our only look at her. And normally I would be against gender swapping. In this case, with the story they had, didn't bother me at all. Although,
Yeah.
it worked. And you know what would have really been cool? It would have been to have the 1960s freaking Batmobile somehow, have them use that.
Yeah.
That
Oh, that was so cool. Yeah.
that to me, if this was the movie where they could have pulled that off, if they would have done that, that would have been very cool. I would love to see,
Yeah.
that work, even for a little bit. And they did homages to the various the Christopher Reeve Superman, and you had the 1950s Batman from the TV show, and of course the 1960s, and so
Yeah.
I normally don't go for nostalgia and whatnot, but it was okay. It was a good story. Well, not good, but okay, watchable, entertaining, as Cub said, and it was just Ezra Miller drags it down, and they had two Ezra Millers.
Yeah,
So
and don't forget, I rewatched Flash Farpoint here, the Flashpoint Paradox. I rewatched it recently to
okay.
compare it to the new one, and I have to say the story in the animated one is really not that great. The story itself is great, but big chunks of the plot are the Amazonians fighting against the water people, and these parts are just boring. I didn't give a crap on Namor or Aquaman. Is it Aquaman in this version? Yeah, Aquaman and Wonder Woman fighting each other with their armies. These scenes were just they didn't mean anything. But the rest of the story I really liked, and it was great. But so I can't just say, yeah, the old Flash, the animated one, is so much better and superior, because it isn't. Because it isn't. Yes, overall story it is, but the biggest big parts of the plot with the fight, the Amazonians and the Aqua people are just filler in my opinion. They are really just there to fill the runtime and didn't have the impact or something like that. They could have made so much more interesting stuff, but they choose that just to have two armies fight each other, which doesn't mean anything. Well, because you don't care for any of them.
Yeah, just
And
a time filler, right?
yeah, time filler. But all the stuff in between was great. Yes, here was really great in the old one, and so that's why this new one is got a little bit redemption with me. It doesn't, and the thing, it doesn't get a thumbs down even with two Ezra Millers. It gets a
Wow,
thumbs
I thought
sideways.
it would for sure.
No, it gets a thumbs sideways because they showed the Nicolas Cage scene. Just because of that.
Right?
Because
Isn't
this
that
was
awesome? You've
this is
watched you've
just
watched that documentary on that, haven't you? The
yeah,
making
of
of
course.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just because they had the balls and they did it. And I know it looks crap, and it completely looks CGI and so on. I know that, but I don't care. Just to see the scene, this scene came out of nowhere, and it was the first time since years, since I think I can't say how long that I really got that a scene got me surprised. That I sat here and thought, "Oh my God, this is so cool to see that." And I can't
That
tell
is,
you when I had last time I had this moment.
yeah,
It was
that's
something
significant.
I watched.
You can
Yeah,
throw everything else out, and if you get a moment like that in a movie, that's
yeah.
unusual,
It's
especially
the
for
only
somebody like
reason.
Cub.
Yeah,
Cub watches this stuff every day, all day. He remembers all this stuff. So, wow.
yeah, yeah. And it's the only reason I'm going to rewatch it in a better quality, just because it has had the balls to put in this scene. And I know it's just a short scene. I think 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that. But I really don't care, because also I can then also see these other scenes that I couldn't really see in this crappy version. And also some of the flash scenes I really liked. Here, some of the effect scenes and so on, which really were straight out of a comic book. I thought it really looked that way. Some of it has some scenes that are really worth a watch. I have to say that really just feel like a comic book adaptation, where without going too much into the illogical story, or the unsympathetic main actor or whatever. But some of these scenes were just that what I expect from a comic book adaptation. Really. Yeah. And what would you say, Greg?
No, I was listening to you.
Yeah. And yeah. What is your judgment on this Flash movie?
Well, like I was saying, the flash or whatever you call of cameos of various deals helped the show. The Yeah, I'm gonna say I want to give it a thumbs down, but you're right. There were too many good scenes, but there was too many bad scenes because of Ezra to give it a thumbs up. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have,
And
you know, I
and
agree with what you said, but
would
I
you
can't
say
give it.
would you say it's m- you would rewatch the Flash one before you would rewatch Black Adam, or Batman versus Superman, or all this crap since 20
Yeah, I think
13?
so. Black Adam, it wasn't as bad. I went back to rewatch it, and just it seemed so I don't know, overly CGI'd. Like I don't know. So I'm gonna have to rewatch some of these. I was right to not like it, but I tried to rewatch it, and it was hard to rewatch. So I think this one does have a lot more rewatchability. You know what you should do, if you could find a way to like make a DVD out of it and cut all the Ezra parts out, this would be pretty good.
Yeah, to
you
cut
know?
at least to cut all the Ezra parts where he is not the Flash,
Yeah,
because
where it's not
yeah,
absolutely needed.
yeah, because when he is the Flash, I know he can't run, but some of the scenes, especially the wide shots, when you, for example, when you see two Flash running together and then separating, and this is really what I really felt like I was reading a comic book when I saw some of these scenes, because Flash was using his powers properly, and Flash-like, I would say, uh, which I thought were very creative. How the use of his powers, and also every time when he tried
I'm gonna
tried.
drop out. I'm gonna drop out and be right back. I've got a technical issue. I'll be right back on a different device. So just go ahead.
Okay, okay, yeah. As I said, some of the scenes in the Flash were really reminding me of a comic book, and for this reason, I saying it's entertaining. It's not good. It's a bad movie. It has crappy CGI. It has a stupid story. It has a bad actor, a main actor. But even with that, it's still kind of entertaining. It's most entertaining DC movie from all this new DC movie crap. I would rewatch The Flash over Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman or Justice League or Wonder Woman. Both of them, uh, I would prefer The Flash anytime over them. Also because of the Batman scenes, which I really liked. See Michael Keaton back was cool. And also see all these other versions, older versions here in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, these last 10 minutes are really great, I have to say. There's much nostalgia in it, yes, I know. But still, also to see Christopher Reeve as Superman and also to see Supergirl. Uh, Yay, Greg! Are you back? Houston? Oh my God, Houston, we have a problem. Have we still a problem? Yeah, so seems like we lost Greg again, but I hope he comes back. And yeah, as I said, uh, uh, if I think it's possible to make a decent Flash movie, and I'm sure this is not the one. But for compared to the things we already got from this universe that is crumbling, and also these are leftovers anyway, and they're going to reboot all this crap anyway. So I don't know. It's really hard not to give up on this crap. Uh, Also, we have an upcoming Blue Beetle, which I have never heard of. I have no idea which grade I. Hey, Greg.
I'm back.
Hey, you're back. That's great. So, Greg, tell us everything about your new about the movie you're looking forward to the most. Your favorite superhero movie, Blue Beetle.
Oh, Blue Beetle.
Are
I've
you
heard
the
that's the
Beatles
next one
fan?
coming out. You know, I never even heard of this character. I'm not really a comic book guy. I mean,
Wait a
Jez
second.
knows his
Blue
comics, but
Beetle isn't Blue Beetle the fifth Beetle? The missing fifth Beetle.
maybe
Is this another Beetle or what?
the missing Beetle.
Yes, the missing one. I thought the movie is about that.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
didn't, but I didn't know
I don't think it's
he
going
was
to do
also
well.
he's also a superhero. I never heard.
See,
That's new
Movie
for me.
Massacre says he's never heard of it either.
What? That can't be. Hey, now Movie Massacre is lying because
Honestly, I've
everyone.
never heard of Blue Beetle.
No, no,
I don't think I've heard of it
Greg,
ever.
Greg,
So
I don't know. Are you from a different alternate reality? Everybody knows Superman, Batman, and the Blue Beetle.
Well, sadly, I will have to inform you I am from a different reality. And there's Bazzil Battle Dragon. I think he's from another reality too.
Yeah. So,
hey,
Greg.
Hey, Bazzil.
So, Greg, I can. Greg, I can tell you in this reality, Blue Beetle is as famous as Superman and Batman. Because why would DC make a movie about him if this wouldn't be the case? They are not stupid.
No.
Clearly.
I think Gunn's in trouble. You know, the new head of DC Studios over there.
I think Gunn is the wrong choice. And do you know what I really find laughable? That they all saying they're giving him so much credit for his new Superman legacy upcoming disaster. And I am saying it right here, right now. I'm not what do you say, happy with this casting of the new Superman. I'm not happy with this supposedly casting of Louis Lane. I think Gunn has no plan at all. I think he has no clue what he's doing, and this is going to be a disaster. He's a good director, yes, but he's not a Superman director. You have to be a special kind of director for Superman. Like, for example, Richard Donner, who is kind of grounded, who can tell this. It's kind of a boring story that he has to tell because it's about a pathfinder, but it's necessary to tell the story, and you can make a very good movie about that, which he already proved with the first Superman movie. But if you are not able to do that, if your characters have all to be outsiders and special people and special people club or whatever, yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad, or all his movies are about these outsiders that go against the norm, and this is a thing that he is able to do. But you first have to establish something, to establish an outsider. And I'm pretty sure he's not able to tell a normal story. A normal, which many would say boring story about a pathfinder that constantly is just good and constantly just tries to help people, and that's it.
No,
But
he won't be able to do that.
Yeah, and you have to do that. Sorry. And he's not the right guy for the job. That's my opinion. And I'm saying it here first.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. For my own reasons, very similar to Cub. I don't think he's the right guy for the job. I don't think he should have got rid of Henry Cavill. I don't think any of his decisions have been well made. Plus, he came out and said this movie, The Flash, was the greatest movie he'd ever seen in his life, or something like that. It's ridiculous. I don't like being lied to, and neither do other people. I think he's made some enemies, and I don't think he's the right guy for the job, and I think it's going to blow up in his face very quickly.
Yeah, and also, he shouldn't have just kept his mouth shut. Nobody would have been angry about that. If he wouldn't have said anything, because
no, he had no connection with it. He didn't have to do that.
Because with Black Adam, what did he do? He didn't go out of his way to promote Black Adam. That was okay, but in this case, he had to pull his head on the chop and say, "Yeah, it's a great movie. Why risking so much?" I don't know. And also, the slate that he announced with his there's this superhero gang which nobody has ever heard of. You know that there's even another movie that he has announced after
that's
Superman.
That's gonna fail. Like, you're right. I've never heard of it. Now, he admitted he had heard of it, but you know.
Yeah. But
you're gonna get some audience, but not enough.
But Greg, this is even more sad because just knows these crazy things. Like I said, typical James Gunn stuff. So if is the only one that has heard of it, of course this is going to flop.
That's true.
Yeah, but because they are a kind of anti-Justice League or something like that, something like The Boys. Here, this group that he wants to make a movie about. But why? You even before you don't announce things like that before you came out with the new Superman. You don't announce it together with Superman. This is exactly like making a new Superman movie, Man of Steel, and announcing Batman versus Superman. It's the second movie. It doesn't make any sense.
That's true. Oh, and you know what we got to cover next? We've talked about it through the whole stream, and I'm sure Cub has long awaited his chance to unleash on this thing. It's called Indiana Jones 5, Kathleen
Uh,
Kennedy's masterpiece.
yeah. So short. The first 20 minutes are kind of Indiana Jones, and that's it. Yeah, and that's the only Indiana Jones part in the whole movie. Are the first 20 minutes, which, as I said, a kind of Indiana Jones. But then when he gets together with this Waller-Bridge woman, then it's Waller-Bridge show, and also we have this annoying short round wannabe, and also this Waller-Bridge character doesn't make any sense, because how old is she supposed to be? Because she first off, she's a total Mary Sue. She has a photographic memory or something like that, so that she can learn all the notices here, all the whole book of her father, and also that that that's also how she becomes important for the story. That's really a cheap way to make somebody who is unsympathetic to the bones, to make him important. She's the only. She has learned the whole book, and also they are copying other movies, and especially other Indiana Jones movies. This book with all the notices and so on. This is straight out of Indiana Jones 3, The Last Crusade. And so normally Indy would just have needed this book. And of course, he needed his father, who has wrote the book and who has tried to save the book. That made sense in the story. And also Sean Connery is always a win for a movie. But now we have this Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, which nobody likes, which can't act, is not funny, can't run. She even runs worse than Ezra Miller. They could, yeah. If they could have,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and also she looks like him. She's as ugly as him. She's the female version of Ezra Miller.
One of the weird things is how she's always like acting like she's panting after men. So you'll have these good-looking guys, and apparently she's getting it on with all these guys, and this one looks. You're right, but she doesn't look very good. I doubt any of those guys would be interested in her at all. And so with stuff like that, I don't have a problem with it, other than it's unrealistic and it takes me out of the movie. Anything, it's like when they started out The Last Jedi with a mama joke before a space battle. Once they did that, I was completely out of the movie. To me, none of it seemed real. These were just actors walking across a set, and it ruined it. So when you see these guys, these good-looking guys, supposedly attracted to her, and she can have them left and right anytime she wants, I'm sorry, no. So that things like that take me out of a movie, and especially a movie like this, you can't do that. And there was really no reason for it.
Greg, do you think the script was written for a good-looking woman? And because nowadays, and because of Kathleen Kennedy, they weren't able to tell here Phoebe Waller-Bridge, no, you don't fit the part because you are ugly. Can't say it straight in her face, so they used the same script that is clearly written for Elsa, or not, for a woman like Elsa in the third, from Indiana Jones 3, and here this attractive Austrian woman. Houston, everything's okay?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Everything's okay?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me also? Greg, say something. Oh, okay. Yeah. So as I said, this movie is a mess. I don't even know where to start because it's really like they have had many different movies and stitched them together because the scenes they seem really like a Frankenstein monster or something like that, like something cobbled together from everywhere, and you have no idea and no clue. For example, the character developments are all over the place. With this Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, you have no clue what she's supposed to be. Greg, are you back?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
So, yeah, I can hear you. Greg, don't you think that the character of Phoebe Waller-Bridge was supposed to be an attractive woman, like in the third
Like
Indiana Jones?
previously. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
and that's obvious.
And also with the skills of Elsa.
Why would you want to have an unattractive co-lead in a movie? You wouldn't. It would be insane.
Yeah,
it's like spending $500 million on that same movie with an ugly, sarcastic, bitter actress who's she's more like a feminist trope. She was the feminist robot in Solo and helped kill that movie. Hey, I see your buddy Doc is here, Dr. Bollocks.
Yeah. I see. I don't know. Should we send him a link or something like that if he wants to?
Yeah, send him a link. Send everybody a link. They are not going to come, but you can send them a link. They might show up. You never know.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And also, Magic. This link is the one that I sent to Movie Massacre. That's why I say you are always welcome, pal. Not that you are wondering and thinking.
Yeah, why you're saying pal?
Yeah, we are no friends or something like that. And also, sorry, Magic. I think it doesn't work in Britain. This link is kind of performed that you can't use it from Britain, and I don't know why. Probably some German guy programmed it or something like that.
Could be. Oh man, you're stirring up trouble between the Germans and Brits again, Cub.
Yeah, the link destroys itself after the first Brits enters the sphere. So, yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely right about them not. That the part was written for a beautiful woman. It doesn't make sense for an ugly woman to be able to get any beautiful guy she wants.
Woman, but also a woman that is believable in as with this kind of adventures, like Elsa, like the woman from Indiana Jones 3, because if she would have been, she was ruthless and also at first with the bad guys and so on, and really believable in her role. So
and you liked her because she was German.
Yeah, but she wasn't German; she was Austrian.
Right. That's right.
And I told you, Austrians are kind of German. They're not really Germans.
Well, they're similar.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Schwarzenegger is Austrian, and Adolf was Austrian, so I don't know. And Elsa was also Austrian.
Yeah, so you got some bad apples everywhere.
Yeah, so, but Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they wanted to let her do the action scenes. Why? She was totally unbelievable in them. So it could clearly see that she wouldn't last for 10 seconds in any of these actions that they were doing.
No.
And at the end we get
and the idea that she knocks out at the end of the movie, of course. Oh man, I hate even talking about this, but at the beginning of the movie, they start out with Indiana Jones, practically naked and old. He's in his 80s and he's watching TV and he's banging on the neighbor's door because they're making too much noise. They set this up to make him look decrepit and ridiculous, and the deconstruction the same way they did Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, but he didn't even know that they landed on the moon, because the neighbor said to him, "We have Moon Day." So the day before or the night before, they landed on the moon. So he's so much not up to date that he not even recognized. And I would say when there was the moon landing, wasn't weeks before that and months before that, wasn't it all over the news every day, 24/7?
Oh yeah. From the time they left, it took weeks to get there, and it was on constantly. And as they approached, people were afraid it was going to die. People had moon landing parties, and people were pretty happy, in the late 60s. He's this dour old guy, but it should have been a lot different. But they had to deconstruct him the same way they did Luke Skywalker. Now, Luke Skywalker, he was isolated on that planet, so he didn't know anything, right? That way they can't have them use their intelligence. I don't know. But you know what I thought? The first 20 minutes of the movie, it was good. What took away from it was Indiana Jones' voice. It wasn't de-aged, so he sounded like he was in his 80s. Now,
I know.
that for me, that when I said take me out of the suspension of disbelief, that was another thing that was so minor, but it was really major. You know what they should have done with this movie was not use Harrison Ford except at like a beginning or the end, like he's telling the story, and then have the whole movie basically like 1 hour of it, have 10 minutes at the beginning and 10 minutes at the end with the old Harrison Ford, but the rest of the movie use that CGI de-aging and use something to take his voice down, and only do like 1 hour. Make it like 1 hour and 20 minutes, because it'd be too expensive because you're using CGI. But I guarantee you it wouldn't have cost as much as this sucker they made here, and it would have been a lot better movie. And of course, you can't have that terrible woman in the movie.
Yeah, and don't forget the short round wannabe. Instead of using
why didn't they bring back Short Round and have him maybe go on an adventure to save his cohort from 30 years ago?
Short Round got an Oscar this year. Can't you remember the winning movie this year was Everything Everywhere All at Once?
That's right.
And Short Round was the main actor. He was the man. The main,
would have been the perfect time.
And he got an Oscar. If they would have used that for this stupid Indiana Jones 5, they could have promoted the movie with him. They could say, Oscar-winning Short Round is back.
Yeah, it would have been good. That's what they should have done. That, or use my CGI plan, where you just, the first 20 minutes, if they'd made that into like an hour and just put Indy on the front and back and not had that ridiculous woman in the movie, I think it would have probably made $1 billion or more, just out of nostalgia.
Yeah, but now it's even worse than Crystal Skull, because in Crystal Skull, and I hate the movie, by the way, Crystal Skull, but at least Indiana Jones was Indiana Jones, and it was his adventure. In this one, it's not an Indiana Jones adventure. It's a Phoebe Waller-Bridge adventure, and Indiana Jones is just grumpy old man who at the end gets shot and wants to die and stay in the past because his life is so miserable. So and Phoebe Waller-Bridge even decides this, even takes this decision also out of his hands. In this movie, he doesn't make any decisions on his own. And also we have we have another story where if they would have done nothing, everything would have turned out the same way.
Yeah.
But by interacting, they made it even worse, because now we have a plane in the past for some reason. Yeah, we have a plane in the past, and they messed up with history probably, but we don't know because we don't see anything outside his room after he was knocked out. We don't
So
see how the world turned out or something like that.
so the Germans in this movie, they did something a little bit different. The Germans trying to go back in time, not to help Hitler, but to kill Hitler and prevent his mistakes. But I've looked at World War II and the economics of the German deal, and it wouldn't have mattered no matter what they're going to do. If they declare war on the United States, they're going to get atom bombed. So it doesn't. You can say, "Oh, I wanted to make sure they didn't do this," or maybe they're going to not attack Russia. They're just going to be toast. Because if they declare war on America, America already had the bomb halfway built. So it doesn't make any sense going, and you would already, the guy is smart enough to know that. So they just leave major things out. I mean,
that was why I was complaining. They had a brilliant here, Matt Mikkelsen, here, this actor who played the German, which I thought, he plays a better German than most Germans here for in a funny version here, a Nazi version. But what did they do? He became dumber throughout the whole movie, and in the end, he was just a stupid bad guy in Nazi uniform. He that was his whole goal. He became
he was obviously supposed to be smart. How come he doesn't calculate in the atom bomb? I mean, America would have bombed Berlin with atom bombs. That's exactly what they would have done.
Yeah, but the thing is, Indiana Jones, he figures out that Archimedes didn't know about continental drifts, and so this time jump wouldn't work for some reason. But wouldn't the scientist know that before Indiana Jones figures that out? Because at the end, the scientist is still a scientist. He's supposed to be Werner von Braun, by the way.
Oh, right. The rocket guy.
Yeah, the rocket guy. Yeah, because as he says in the movie, now I brought you to the moon, and now and that's the only reason why the CIA is working together with him, and is helping him in the beginning, because this is supposed to be Werner von Braun. So, but you tell me that an archaeologist, of course, figures out the continental drifting before the real scientists or whatever. I don't know.
Let me read Doc's chat here. He says the original story had Indy and Phoebe ride a bike time travel back to 40s and team up with young Indy. Young Indy would die in the end, and old Indy would vanish, and PB, her, would become Indy, the girl.
Even worse.
And I bet that's probably what actually was the original version, because we know they ended up reshooting it. There's a whole controversy around that. But
at the end, as you have seen, Greg, at the end, they gave up. We have heard that 7 endings or something like that. And do you know, I tell you something. At the end, this black picture, and then he wakes up in his home, and then they bring in Marion and whatever. I tell you, this is not an ending. They had no ending. They gave up. They didn't make another ending. They just finished the movie without ending, because that what we got was no ending. This was nothing. These last scenes, probably shot in a day or whatever, and just slept on, and that's it. This is an unfinished product because they didn't know how to end it after all the re-editings and so on. And that's what I suspect, at least.
Yeah, that's according to Doc. That's why it cost so much. The test screenings for that ending had a score below 10. That's Catwoman level of crud. Interesting.
Yeah. This is a disaster because
it was sad. Harrison Ford, I lost a lot of respect for him because of what he let him do to, his characters, Han Solo and Indy, and he could have helped him. He let Mark Hamill be humiliated too. He could have spoke up for him or something. I just I don't know. He grabbed the paycheck and he doesn't care. But it's also kind of his attitude when he talks about stuff. I think he's a bit of a dick, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think he and Patrick Stewart, these are, I don't know, they are not the heroes that we see in them when they.
They wouldn't be good guys to hang out with.
Yeah, and that's sad. That is really sad because if they would just act like decent human beings,
right?
Yeah,
there's not so much to ask.
Yeah, really. Just not just shut your mouth, or don't make a fourth or fifth movie of something that you don't. When you are already the biggest character on the planet, that everybody knows, Indiana Jones, a legend, a perfect trilogy, and the same goes with Star Wars. Don't destroy your legacy for your fans. Think for 1 second, when you have millions of dollars, and you can't tell me that these are not multi-millionaires, whatever. These are, they get for the movies.
Especially at his age. He don't have much longer. What is he, 84? I mean, to destroy your legacy and betray your fans and stick the blade of destiny in the back of the fan.
Really.
That's what he did. You know who I don't think will do that? I don't think Shatner will. He might have 10 or 15 years ago, but I don't think so now. I think he's really come to appreciate his legacy, and I don't think he would take a role that besmirched Kirk, because he knows he doesn't have long at all. He's 90 something.
Even Shatner's worst actions or worst work were never a betrayal to the fans. Never.
Right.
Even
I don't think he would do that.
Star Trek.
I don't think he would do that.
I think even Star Trek 5. I know it breaks canon, and I know it's stupid and whatever, but when you know the original story behind Star Trek 5, it wasn't supposed to be like that.
No.
The original.
They had the writer's strike. Ironically, we have a writer's strike right now.
Yeah, they had the writer's strike, and they couldn't do some really cool things they wanted to do. They wanted to do this rock monster thing, and there's even footage of that. And the story also was a little bit different.
He had a book he wrote about it. I read his book.
Oh, great! So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I did.
He would never betray his fans like Patrick Stewart did, like Harrison Ford did.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would betray his character. Other people can say he might, but I don't think so. It's never going to happen. I know him. I know that's hard to believe, but God, it feels like I know him. And it feels like I know these other people too, at least somewhat.
Yeah, and as I said, this is these stupid fucks, so-called reviewers whatsoever, that say that this new Indiana Jones at least is better than Crystal Skull.
No, it's not.
They are just lying to their audience. They are not better than Harrison Ford, because how can this be better than the fourth one? When in the fourth one, it was an Indiana Jones adventure. Okay, I know it sucks. It was terrible and awful, but still, he was Indiana Jones. It was his
It wasn't
adventure.
as bad as this. You know,
Yeah,
it was a misfire, but it was okay. You know, it
yeah.
had an okay ending. You rolled along. You could take it. We had a higher standard for Indiana Jones, and so we held it up to that standard. But that movie is far superior to this one. Far superior. 10
Yeah,
times better. I would
rewatch it
much
any
rather
time.
watch that.
Yeah,
This one's
yeah.
so bad. She is unbearable.
Yeah, and they're both she and this short round whatsoever wannabe, they both can't stand Indy. So
Yeah, right.
he is an old man, a miserable old man that she constantly is betraying and leaving to die. And he's kind of like her uncle or something like that. He's her
Godfather.
godfather. And she, first scene, where they met, she left him to die. That the Nazis kill him.
Yeah.
What is that? What did he do to her? He never did anything wrong to her. He was a friend of her father and tried to help her father even, that he get rid of his obsession with this stupid thing, the Dial of Destiny. And
Well, for some reason, these characters don't seem to be held to any type of standard where they do something bad. They don't get any punishment for it, and nobody in the movie calls them out on their behavior. And of course, they're always rewarded if they fit into certain categories. And that's what. Go ahead.
And for no reasons, on several occasions, she tries to kill that he gets killed. She leaves him to die in this one scene. Then, when this jealous former ex-lover from her is chasing them and so on, she says, "Yeah, I just told them that they shoot you because he doesn't speak their language, but she does." And so what the hell did he do to her to deserve that? He's just a poor old man. He never did anything wrong to her. So yeah, it's just so sad to think about it and to sit through it. It made me really sad.
I can't. I don't understand how anybody, these women, are enjoying this portrayal of their sex. I mean, if the situation were reversed and this was an 80-year-old woman and she was constantly being betrayed and set up to die by some young guy who was constantly, messing with girls. I mean, as a guy, I wouldn't want to see that sorry, stuff going on. I wouldn't like that at all. I wouldn't watch that. Why would women want to watch? Why do they think women want to watch a woman acting like that? They don't want to see him treated poorly by this woman.
Hey, you could replace Harrison Ford here with Miss Marple, and replace Phoebe Waller-Bridge with an ugly young version, a male version. So
Yeah.
Ezra Miller and
Right?
Miss Marple. Yeah.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be acceptable at all. It would not be acceptable to guys, especially because they wouldn't want to see a guy treating an old lady like that. Yeah, they absolutely. We would not support that, and we would be very irate at them for doing it. But for women, they think women want to see a woman treating an old man like that, and not just any old man. We're talking one of the legends that these women grew up with as well. They watch these movies. I cannot imagine the thinking that goes into why they're making these decisions. But that comes back to Kathleen Kennedy, who Doc was talking about in the chat earlier. Doc said you were in Kathleen Kennedy's fan club, but you got thrown out or something. Did you not keep your dues? You didn't keep paying your dues, did you? She really needs the extra money now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, really. The
Now you're in
horrible
pain.
thing is they wasted the chance to make Indiana Jones Searching for Atlantis. They wasted the last 30 years doing crap, doing this god awful movies. Crystal Skull sucked, but it was Citizen Kane and a brilliant masterpiece compared to this piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
And instead of making making maybe a last adventure with Indiana Jones, Search for Atlantis or something like that, or Search for Short Round, I don't know, something that makes
Right.
sense, that is interesting for the audience, and not some
Yeah.
stupid dial of diversity whatsoever. Who cares for that? And also, it didn't make any sense. So this guy, this scientist, he wanted to go back in time to the special day, in time day, and how did he exactly know how to use this dial of destiny? And how could he use it to get back to a special day? And of course, they got back 2,000 years in the past, and we have no clue why. Yeah, because of continental drift. Really?
How does he even know it's going to fit a whole airplane? How does he know it's not designed for one person?
Yeah, and also,
would you, if you were making something like that, would you make it, 10 or 20, 30 feet wide? And what, you would make it the size for a few people at most. The portal, also, because the bigger the portal, the bigger the energy drain, as I understand it. I don't know. It doesn't. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, and also they say, "Oh, we have to go back through the portal before it closes." First off, how do they know that the portal, how long the portal is open? If it's open 10 minutes or 20 hours or forever, they say, yeah, it's going to close soon. Why? What?
Yeah, there's no instruction book. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, really. It would make sense that maybe the portal closed down when this thing gets destroyed or something like that. I don't know. I because they didn't set anything up. The scientist says, yeah, it's his theory that you could use it for time travel, whatever. But it's just a theory. And for me, this didn't look like the time machine at all.
Well, let me ask you this: if you were a German and you were going to go back and try and save Germany, why not go to World War I and just bring like a couple of little adventures? Just the knowledge in his head would have allowed the Germans to win World War I. You know what I mean? Because he would know. All you would have to do is study the various inventions, the key ones to the war, and instead of propping up somebody like the terrible regime of who, you would be propping up the Kaiser, a much more mellow person than the other one. Hey, yeah, I'm just saying, why go back to World War II and then you don't have the specter of the atom bomb coming to destroy you? You don't have any. You can win the war before America even gets involved because you already know the politics over there. I would say, why not? Why do they focus on that when Germany really wasn't in a great position, whereas they were in a much better position with all their allies stretching all the way down to Turkey, and Austria-Hungary still existed. There's just a whole lot more to focus on. Right there would be the better opportunity, and you wouldn't have to deal with killing anybody.
Yeah, and also don't forget, this is supposed to be a scientist, here, Werner von Braun. Why shouldn't he even care for politics? It would have even
he wasn't. Everything I read, he wasn't political.
No, but I would say it would even make more sense if he wouldn't go to back in time at all and would go to the future to see upcoming inventions just because he's a
Yeah,
scientist.
there's
And
so many different
it's
possibilities. But if
yeah,
I'm just saying, why pick the point in World War II? Germany was much smaller with less allies. If you went back to World War One, well, just the knowledge in your head would allow the Germans to win. If you showed up like in 1914 or something,
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
know,
I'm just saying,
uh,
like you say, he could go to the future. He could go to a different point in the past. Good God, there's so many better opportunities than the one he picked.
yeah, and this is just it was just poor. This is poor writing one on one.
Of course, it didn't matter what he wanted to do because the thing was going to take him back to ancient Rome, no matter what he did. So it
Yeah,
was
for,
locked
for
into going
some
back there.
reason. For some reason, and why? Why was it locked to go there? Because we see it was not even invented in this moment. When
Yeah,
we see that he didn't finish it, he still needed the clock or the watch or whatever to finish it. So without the watch, he couldn't
I
even
can't
finish it.
explain their terrible writing. I was just
Yeah,
poking holes in it. I could poke holes in their writing all day long. It's terrible. It's a terrible movie.
yeah,
One of the worst movies made.
yeah. It's devastating for Indiana Jones because you can't unwatch it. If I could go back in time, I would tell people don't watch Crystal Skull, and please don't watch the one after that because that is the one that because Crystal Skull already kind of destroyed Indiana Jones, but it still it treated him still with more respect than this garbage. This garbage is it's Discovery. This is the Last Jedi, Discovery, Picard. This is the one for Indiana Jones. It's for me. Star Trek is dead for me because of this crap, and we come to that by the way because I think you have seen this
Strange
Abomination.
New World. Yeah, that's coming up next.
Oh
We
my
can go to
god!
that. Are we almost done with this
Yeah,
one? I think we've
yeah.
said all we can say.
It's too sad. Uh, it,
Hey,
it's
but the first 20 minutes are okay. Just watch that 20 minutes and then forget about the rest of it. Right? I would just recommend watching the first 20 minutes.
yeah, and I can tell you, if you see what they done to Indiana Jones, you can't unsee that. It sticks in your head, and it's just sad. Uh, I would rather not watch that movie. If I had to choose again, I would warn myself not to watch it because it's just so sad to see what they do to him.
Okay, so we're both giving it double thumbs down.
We're giving
Sounds.
we're giving it two thumbs into the past, so that people get warned not to watch it. It's so bad that thumbs down is not even enough for that. We don't
Yeah,
have enough
maybe across the
thumbs.
multiverse, huh?
Yeah, across the multiverse.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the next
so
one, as Cub has said, he's a big Star Trek fan, as we well know. So, Strange New Worlds with Captain Christopher Pike on the Enterprise before James Kirk. He has Spock
yeah,
on board, and after a fashion, and Number One, and Uhura, and Nurse Chapel. And we
yeah,
had season one, which Cub wasn't too happy with, but which I found, I think 3 episodes that were watchable and reminded me of Trek. So it gave me some hope. And then we had
yeah,
Picard season 3, which it was actually pretty good. I was shocked.
yeah,
Picard was almost Discovery bad. And
yeah,
now we have Strange New World season 2. Take it away, Cub.
yeah. And the first 3 episodes. First off, could you manage to watch them?
Yes, I watched all 3 episodes.
And would you agree that this last episode is the worst Star Trek episode ever. It's the worst episode that has slapped the name Star Trek on it from all Star Trek.
Oh, I don't know. There's been some bad episodes. You mean the time travel one back to the 90s? With
the
with the
Noonien
little
Singh
Khan?
and Kirk.
What I don't get, Khan should have been much older. How come Khan is that young? To me, this is just further proof that it's not our reality, not our original one with William Shatner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
This is, because Khan, remember, Khan was the leader of much of Asia in the 1990s, according to our canon. So he would have had to have been a full-grown man.
Yes, they changed again. They changed canon, and also it can't be our reality or the reality that we know, the normal canon, because as you know, they go back in time because of this bridge bombing, where they discover that the bridge bombing was from a future weapon, but they don't prevent that bridge bombing. So from this moment on, they are already in a different timeline.
And one thing that was kind of confusing for me, did you notice how they had a picture of the Romulan warbird?
Yeah.
So how is the Romulan warbird showing up in 1990s America, and why isn't it attacking?
Maybe it's the picture from Voyage Home.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's something I hadn't thought about.
And they also didn't think about it, because they could have used that if they were clever. Because it's clearly
but it was a different type of ship.
Yeah, I know. But if they would have known Star Trek, I'm just a casual fan, and even I can come up with something that makes more sense, even with their stupid story.
Well, I mean, what was it? A time traveling Romulan warbird, or I'm not sure how it got back there. Because the design would have been from a couple of 100 years in the future, so it shouldn't have been from that time. However, I thought the first episode, Spock's Command, was pretty good. What did you think of it?
What did you like? The emotional parts from Spock, especially, or his love relationship with Chapel, or the other stupid stuff, or the David
That's
E.
funny.
Kelly, the David E. Kelly episode with the courtroom.
No, I just thought the overall that the actor playing Spock was doing better in his role, and this was the first episode of the year, and I thought I saw some improvement on his acting and the writing for him as compared to the previous year. Did you notice that?
No, I noticed exactly the opposite, because he
he
was emotional from the get-go. This is much worse Spock than in the last season for me personally, and also what was the first episode about? They bring up again this trial. This mutant things. These mutations are not allowed. But the first episode was about it was a mission on a Klingon here on a planet where the Klingons.
I'm not sure, you're breaking up. Hang on.
It was they got a signal or something like that from a member on that said that the Klingons are planning something against the Federation, and they want to they want to start that the war starts again. And this was happening in the neutral zone or something like that, in a planet where but which was clearly under Klingon, where clearly there was the Klingons in charge or whatever. I don't know. And so
that was a pretty good summary.
Yeah, and they prevent the Klingons from using a stolen Federation spaceship to start a war with themselves.
That's right.
Yeah. It was so bad. Oh my god, it didn't make any sense. Also, as usual, but
so you liked it?
Yeah, I really hated it. And the second episode was even worse because it was just in a courtroom.
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, it was pretty boring because they made this was a process where somebody was sneaking into the Federation with modifications, but is not allowed to because her race is
modified. Of course, number one, she lied on her application.
Yeah, and so
that was the whole charge against her.
Yeah, and so at the end, they win the case by using the Federation rule. If somebody gets suppressed and whatever, then you have to give him asylum. But the thing is, this doesn't make any sense because the Federation themselves were the suppressors. So how can they have this rule in their with the rules that they're going after? But this rule is contradicting what they were doing with these people anyway. I don't understand. This is confusing for me.
Right. Well, help! I'm being oppressed by Cub. I need asylum.
Yeah, you are. Hey, this is a German stream. You are safe here. You can trust. Hey, this is a trustworthy.
It's a safe space.
Yeah,
it's a safe space.
So,
man, and we've already heard what you thought of the third one. So I guess that catches us up on the Strange New World. Cub,
yeah, but
3 thumbs down from Cub, and you got 1 thumbs up and 2 down from me. But I'm hopeful. I see some signs that we're going to have a episode that Cub's going to like before long. You watch.
Okay. So
maybe
what's next?
Secret Invasion with the deconstruction of Nick Fury. Oh my God! Talk about boring. This show makes the trial episode of Star Trek look like Michael Bay.
Yeah, and also
they sit around talking boringly.
It's even worse than She-Hulk because She-Hulk at least was so bad that at least
you can make fun of it.
Yeah, you can make fun of it. But this is just sad. This is boring, sad, and also it's now about race and crap like that. Why? Why are 2 black people who are in power and in charge, probably the most powerful people in the States, why are they complaining about anything? I don't understand.
Did you see part of Nick Fury's story where he has to blend in as a secret agent, and he was in Russia blending in as a Russian, even though he's black.
Yeah, but he blended in perfectly.
Is that how it works in Russia?
Probably.
Probably. Okay.
Maybe Russia is much more diverse than people think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was terrible. I don't have a lot to say about it. I don't know. Nick Fury
Uh,
supposedly let millions of these shape-shifting aliens onto our planet, and he doesn't think that's going to be a problem. That would take an
yeah,
idiot. And
and
he's.
uh, also
And what about
the
Captain Marvel? Captain Marvel, the chick, she was aware of all this in the '90s, and she let this happen. She just took
yes,
off and left Earth unprotected after knowing that you got these shape shifting aliens there, which she loves because they're all immigrants and all immigrants are perfect. But it turns out that maybe Ms. Marvel or Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, whatever the heck her name is, maybe she shouldn't have allowed these people to flourish and then take off to another part of the galaxy. Maybe she shouldn't have
yeah.
done that. It looks
Uh,
like she messed up.
it looks like this is another fraud because I said back then I couldn't stand civil war because it was not a civil war. This was I felt betrayed when they called a movie Civil War, and it was just a bunch of friends coupling yeah, on an airfield or whatever, and this was not Civil War, and it was not the comic book Civil War, by the way, and so this was a betrayal. But this is an even bigger betrayal because I have heard that Secret Wars is about scrolls that turn into superheroes, and at the end there is even a super scroll or something like that. And
Yeah, and don't the superheroes battle the? It's not just like a couple of old washed up agents. It's actual superheroes, right?
yeah.
Battling them.
So, but if they don't turn into superheroes because superheroes are too expensive for a television
Yeah,
series,
right. I
why
was thinking the same thing.
this is just a spy story with shapeshifters, so it's a copy of body snatchers or whatever, something like that, uh, but not like body snatchers, but you know what I mean, just some shape-shifting aliens
Well, it's almost
who are
like
a threat.
the last year's last episode of Star Trek: Strange New World. They had the what do you call it? Who can shapeshift, and they had taken over
Yeah,
the Federation. It's like they don't have any new ideas.
the
Whenever they
changelings,
get one, they do
yeah.
the same. They do the same story everywhere.
Yeah, these changelings, and
Yeah,
so
changeling. You're right. My fault.
so this is not a superhero story. This is not a Marvel story at all. It's just an agent story. Like Hawkeye was not about Hawkeye. It was about this female Hawkeye, whatever replacement. And again, we and Loki was not really about Loki. It was also just to introduce this female Loki, which is much better. And now we get another fraud where they use a title where people think, oh my god, we get to see Secret Wars with these scrolls turning into superheroes, but they don't. It's just a stupid spy story with no tension, and the scrolls, the powers of them have no limit. They can turn into everything with every size, even with a ball in their hand if they like to. They can even turn into a small child with a ball in their hand if they like
Wow,
to. So that
that
doesn't
doesn't
make
make
any
any sense.
sense.
How? Yeah,
And
no, it
and
doesn't.
and also, since when can the squads also can turn into the clothes of the people?
No, that's
Since
new.
when?
Since it's
Because it doesn't.
convenient. It's
So
convenient for them.
so if they turn also into the clothes, so when you so when you touch them, the clothes like
Skin or something like flesh,
skin or
or
something like that.
I don't know.
Uh,
Oh, and I misspoke. That's the changelings were on the season 3 of Picard, not on Strange New
yeah,
World.
yeah, no, season 3 of Picard, but it's
I know,
Kurtzman
but
Trek
I
still.
misspoke.
So yeah, but you are right. It's just
It's just that it reminded me the Skrulls and the Changelings, and we just watched that other one, a couple of months ago, and they keep having the same stories constantly. So you see one story, and then it's the same story over here. Like, man, it just gets old.
Yeah, and at least the changelings had made a little bit sense and were not all powerful. They had also weaknesses and so on.
Right.
But with these scrolls, I don't know. They can turn in everyone, even with the clothes, and now they can even copy the memory, but still get caught by forgetting that the marriage is over with this one scroll.
Yeah, that's stupid.
How
it's so stupid.
How did he forget that? He copied the memory of the one he was.
And they made that clear. Why didn't they write it into the script that it could be messed up or incomplete? Or no, they made it like, no, you copied it. That's it. Now, when they write themselves into corners, don't they?
Yeah. Yes. This is bad writing, lazy writing. Really, it doesn't get lazier. I have heard that even the beginning is written by AI here.
Oh, sweet.
Credits here, the introducing credits from the series. This is made by AI, and
that's cool. I like AI. I've got Alexa all over the house.
Yeah, but as I said, this is lazy. You can't get lazier. You can't get lazier with writing as with this show. This show is
I don't
really.
Want to spend any more time on this dog. I'm going to give it a thumbs down. What about you? You got anything else to say about it?
I don't give it anything. Really, this thing can. I even don't want to watch it. Don't watch the next.
It's horrible.
Episodes.
It's bad.
It's too boring. It's too boring, really.
Yeah, it is. It's people sitting around talking, and it's really bad. I mean, and even when there was action scenes, like in the very first scene of the first episode, where he walks in and he's explaining the deal like he's a conspiracy guy, and then you have a chase. I felt nothing. I didn't feel anything towards it. It's like it didn't look real, or I had no investment in it at all.
And also, do we really need in a Marvel show a finger that gets cut up and a torture scene and that looks horrible for no reason? Do we really need that? Here, when this woman cuts the finger from the guy to prove that he's a Skrull, and it's really graphic, and also tortures him horribly. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't need that. Maybe other people do.
Yeah, because it's so boring. It's so boring, and then you have this scene in there.
Well, it's like with Star Trek, with like Discovery, where they're killing, babies and other horror, right? I mean, they're torturing people, and I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know how this stuff gets past the showrunners, or that's just the kind of people they are. But I don't like it.
Yeah,
it turns me off.
Even in Star Trek, there was an episode about torture. The whole episode was about torture with Picard in Next Generation, where you don't see these scenes. Where you don't.
But it was psychological more than anything.
Yeah.
You didn't need the graphic nature. We knew what was going on, but we don't need to see everything.
Yeah, it was.
They do it for shock value or something. Maybe they get ESG points for it. I don't know why they do it.
I don't know. This is just everybody needs to be fired on this show, because this is it's worse. It's even less entertaining than stupid Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel was horrible.
Yeah. That's true. At least it's true. Okay, let's go on to the last movie before we get to our news segment. We have Fast X. So this is the last of the Fast and Furious movies,
No, it isn't. It's
It's,
part one of a three-parter or
oh
something
my
like that.
god.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
Yeah, but doesn't that count as one movie
Uh,
for our purposes?
it's our second movie we're talking about where it's part one of whatever, like with Spider-Verse, and it's also
Look,
horrible.
I don't watch these things that much, you know. I watched what I could of it. But I gave up around Fast 3, I think. But I've tried to watch some of the others. I just find them boring.
Yeah,
They're
because they are
yeah.
boring.
And on this one, what I watched of it, it seems like a poor espionage type deal, like Mission Impossible, but a really low rent version of it. They've gotten away from the street racing, and they've gotten to, I mean, like the early ones, like I saw, there was more car talk and stuff. This just, I don't know, it seems boring and unbelievable, and I don't buy the big action scenes look like it's staged. It doesn't look real. I know
Yeah,
that sounds weird.
and also Aquaman here the who plays
He's really weird in
a,
this.
a gay Joker or something like that. Uh, he it's so unbelievable that he's able to do what he is doing. So first off, he wants revenge because his father got robbed, whatever, in part five, and also killed. And so we see that he was constantly there. They show the scene again, and we see Aquaman in one of the cars, whatever. So, but they stole the money from his father, and so Aquaman is now poor. But he has the power to do the money, resources to outsmart everybody and everything. The good guys, the bad guys, even the CIA organization, whatever. And so, what is it? Is he the richest guy on the planet? Uh, but why does he want revenge for what? That they killed his father, but this is not nothing personal. This was just his father was a gangster, a robber himself. So for that, wanting revenge for that, I don't know. But he says that he also because they took the money from him, but he is not poor. I didn't really understand his motivation.
No, that's true. Thomas has a chat. He says they always say it's the last movie until they've got money out of it. It will never end. Well, that's true.
Yeah. So with this one, maybe this is the last one because
Well, so how does the box office do?
It's kind of underperforming because this one has costs from 350 million.
Oh man.
So it's
Well, the
even
secret to these, you need to make these things cheap. You shouldn't make this for more than 120. You know?
yeah, but and also I show it in my review. By the way, the only entertaining part of Fast and Furious is go watch my review on it because the, at least it's not as long as one of these movies and it's much funnier. At
That's
least they
true.
are really. And
Cub
also,
does a lot of research too.
yeah, and also Greg is in it. Greg, it's the one where you are constantly annoying me, where you took Mehmet's parts. Can't you remember?
I do. I
Yeah,
forgot it was that one though.
yeah. So yeah, watch that. That's really cool. You can listen to Greg how he drives me crazy.
So,
Yeah,
what did you think of the movie overall?
I thought it was really boring
Yeah.
because there were no stakes at all. The motivations didn't make any sense, and also
It's
having
like
people.
like the actors are just walking through their lines. You know, they seem like they're zombies or something, and I don't feel any. I know nothing's going to happen to any of them, so none of it. There's no stakes. You know, they're not going to die or anything, so I don't care.
Yeah, and one of them dies. He dies. Even the one from the last one, brother Jacob, Frere
Right.
Jacke. He kind of dies, but also they bring the two dead characters are walking around again there. Here, this one they resurrected from part the last part. Since part 6. Here,
Sick.
Han,
I can't believe there's 10 of these things.
and also at the end of this one, in the end credits scene, the second end credits, the first end credit scene, they bring his girlfriend back from part 6, I think. The Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. She comes back with the submarine from part 8, I think. Part 8 was the one with the submarine, and yeah, she comes back with the submarine. She's also dead, but now she isn't anymore. And so, yeah, when death has no, I don't understand why. When you do that constantly, bring back dead characters. Why should I care for any of them?
You shouldn't. It's terrible. And I'm giving it thumbs down. It was boring, man. Boring. And that's hard to achieve when you got a movie called Fast and Furious. But I guess it's just getting old, you know. It
Really,
got old for me 6 movies ago.
Yeah, and also I'm not a fan of this series anyway. But I have to say, all the others, at least they kind of tried. Kind of in the last one, they even went to space, which is kind of funny. But
right, I thought that had to be it, but nope.
Yeah.
Like Thomas said, as long as they're making money, they're going to keep doing. I think they might not be making money anymore, though. I think this one might lose money.
Yeah, it maybe, because as I said, it is not this big smash hit, and also I show in my video and my review, I show that the last movies, Fast and Furious, everyone was more expensive than the last one, but brought in less money than the last one. They have a downward trend since part 8. Part 7.
Well, Movie Massacre says he watched the first one and he didn't like it.
Because the first one is also boring. It's not a masterpiece or something like that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think back then it was something new and different, though. You know.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I watched it back then. I watched it in 2001 when it came out, and I was not out of my mind.
It was boring, but I mean, people saw it as something new and different because it had the fast cars running around. I don't know. I never got the enticement of it.
It had one gimmick in it, which it stole from a much better movie, from Mad Max 2, by the way.
Yeah, that was a good show.
But it had the gimmick with the gas cars, with these cars that these fast cars, and then you put on gas in the last shortly before you enter the where you want to. These were races, and then you can switch on the gas, and then the car goes really fast for a few seconds.
Octane booster.
Yeah, octane booster, and that was the gimmick, and that was the only thing in the first movie. The first movie was just that was the kind of the special from it, and even this special it stole from much better movies. But it was presented there with this car race thing, and yeah, and that was it. There was nothing special about it. The story was a Point Break, but on wheels, because it's
And in that case, it was
exactly the
probably
same story.
Nitro or Nitro booster. Yeah, and I remember Mad Max. That was a sweet car. Man, they could do stuff with very little money back then.
Yeah, I think Mad Max was just 2 million or something like that.
Yeah, it was low, but it was a good movie. Okay, so that completes our entertainment show. We do have a news segment where we sometimes go over the news if something interesting happens. And over in Europe, they've got riots in France. So let's try to be careful so we don't get in trouble. But what's going on over there, Cub?
So, in France, these riots are not what many people think they are, because people may think these are the same kind of riots that they had because
the George
of
Floyd thing.
No,
up north.
No, because there were riots in France because of the Corona measures, because they were against it, because they wanted to make people go in retirement with 2 years later or something like that, with 64 instead of 62, and these were the riots were also about that. The ones
riots going on over there right now.
Yeah, but the riots going on over there right now are more a George Floyd thing, as you said, because a policeman shot a 17-year-old who wanted to escape with a car, but this 17-year-old, this was the second time he wanted to escape on the same day.
Oh wow!
This was the second time they catched him, and this was a guy, 17-year-old, and that people know here in Europe, you have to be 18 to even drive. You can't make a driver license before you are 18. So he was without driver license, of course, and he was known, had already many clashes with the police. This was not the first time. So this is a gangster, a 17-year-old criminal, and he wanted again to drive away, and the police had to stop him because there were innocent people also who could have been driven over with the car, and he already escaped one before that. So
oh yeah, the police often shoot people in that circumstances here in America. So that doesn't happen that often over there.
Yeah, and this was maybe it was the wrong decision to shoot him. Maybe the police didn't even want to shoot him and just wanted to shoot at the car or whatever. But he got killed. But the thing is, he's not an innocent 70-year-old who police just killed for no reason or something like that.
See, I saw the video and I heard a report on it, and they didn't mention any of that stuff you mentioned. All they said was 17, and they showed him trying to pull away and getting shot. They didn't say it was the second time he did it that day, or him being a gangster. So there's always more information.
He has a record of things he had done. This is not just a 17-year-old the first time drives a car and just gets shot from the police.
So the riots are only in France. It's not affecting Germany.
Greg, also, but people should ask themselves, who the hell made the video? Why
don't
the
know.
hell did anybody stand there and making a video from it?
That is weird.
Because it was for sure nobody in the car. The video was made from outside.
Yeah,
But
it was made from outside.
Yeah, but why? Who did know that the police is going to stop somebody exact at that place, and then knows, oh, now I'm pretty sure he gets shot or whatever, so I'm going to film that absolutely
I think,
perfectly.
yeah,
By the way,
the people from the younger people today have gotten trained to just get their phone out and record everything. Anytime they see the police, or maybe that isn't the case over there as much, but in America,
yeah, but didn't you see how this video was not? It didn't look like a video that was made from a 15-year-old or whatever with his smartphone. This looked really like made from somebody who knew exactly that how to hold the picture or not.
oh yeah, yeah. I didn't mean it was a child who did it, but probably someone in his 20s or 30s.
Yeah,
but that whole culture, that it seems like they've been programmed now to, you even see it as memes. Everybody pulls out their phone and starts recording anytime anything happens.
Yeah, but this was not middle in the city where constantly people were working.
Oh, it could be suspicious. I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out that there are a lot of people with smartphones out there. But it was weird. It was weird how they had the perfect angle and they had everything perfect. You notice that?
Yes, and that is the thing what reminds of also with George Floyd, where they had perfect video to show how police was harassing him, whatever. But
oh yeah,
then it turned out this was no angel, and George Floyd, and in fact he was a criminal.
Yeah, he wasn't a good person, but of course he didn't deserve to get killed.
No, he didn't deserve to get killed, but he even attacked a pregnant woman. This Angel Floyd.
Well, yeah, the police have to deal with dangerous people all the time. I try not to criticize them, more than I need to. So,
but
I understand.
But this time we have really, really kind of a situation like that. But I would even say this time the police was much more in the right to try to stop this guy, because you can't let a 70-year-old without a driver license with a criminal record, which
just drive crazy all over the place. He could easily kill somebody.
Yeah. So what would people would have said when the police would have let him get away, not shoot him, and then he drives over a child or something like that?
Yeah, they would have been pissed.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you do in this situation. It's a bad situation, but it's not a situation where you can say, oh, this is 70-year-old Angel shot by bad policeman, and now we have to write about that. This is not this kind of situation. That's for sure. And also, the thing is, Macron, this asshole from France, who is a deep state and completely against the people and humanity itself, he is defending the 17-year-old, and he is blaming the police, his police. So when he is on the side of the right of the right people of with the rights and so on, this can't be the right side, or not.
It sounds like something Biden would do.
Yes, this is really like with your Biden. When you aren't sure if something is good or bad, just listen what Biden is saying about it, and then the opposite is true. Yeah, and just
that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, and I just wanted people to know that they don't get their hopes high. Yeah, they're in France rioting because for our rights or something like that. No, the people that are rioting, they are the immigrants that are destroying the country, and the president is even helping them. And this is like Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter are also the bad guys, as you know, and these Antifa fucks and so on. These are criminal organizations, and in France it's exactly the same thing. But people are confusing it for the rights, that we get our rights back. But it's not that. It's the opposite is even the case, because the president of France has made some new laws, is passing in this moment some new laws in France that prohibits you to say anything against the state. If you
Oh,
say
wow.
anything against the state, you can be charged with long prison sentences.
Is that a EU law or a French law or
No,
German?
a French law.
Oh, well,
Just in
good.
French. French is getting the hardest laws against critics for the critics of the government that you have ever seen in whole Europe, on this planet.
Wow.
It's worse than the Third Reich laws that they're getting there.
Don't y'all have protections under your EU citizenship? Aren't French citizens also citizens of the European Union?
I have no clue. I don't
Well, in
know.
America, it'd be like states' rights and federal. So in America, you would have some. If the state of Texas tried to employ a bunch of draconian laws, we would go to the Supreme Court of the United States, which is a federal deal, which means a higher deal. And what I'm saying is, the EU a higher authority? Can they come in and say, no, you can't do that? The Supreme Court would overrule.
Yes,
It's probably not Texas, but maybe Louisiana or one of the Yankee states.
But the EU always does that when the EU wants to, because
so they're not gonna get. I see. I see what you're saying.
That's our problem with the EU, because everything that is for the people, because the EU had laws, for example, also with the corona measures, there were laws from the EU that were not as strict as the ones that were pushed here in Germany. But in Germany, they just used, in one case, they used the law from Germany, and in the other cases, when it was worse for the people, they came with the EU laws.
Yeah.
So they just take the ones they want to, and the other ones are just ignored. And it's the police, and it doesn't matter if you go to court or whatever, because it's, for the moment, you are fucked. And people who get arrested for a different opinion in France, for the moment they are fucked. And if you are in prison, try to get a lawyer and then go to court, on European court or whatever, which takes years.
You can't work, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay a lawyer.
Anyway, and then try with European law to do something. This takes for years. Till then, you have lost your job, you have lost your home, you are fucked.
Yeah, well, that's not good.
I know.
I guess write your EU congressman or whatever y'all do over there, and let them know, that that's not good.
This is France, and
I don't know what to tell you. It's not my continent, dude.
But just telling the people. And here in Germany, also things are happening. Our third here we have.
What about Germany?
Yeah, as you know, all the parties are working together against the people. But there's one party. It's called AfD, Alternative für Deutschland. It's called. They are the only ones against the corona measures and so on. And also they want to go that Germany leaves the EU, so that the EU vanishes when Germany leaves.
I don't think the EU could survive if Germany pulled out, could they?
No. They have to. The EU has to vanish. It has to. When Germany wants to leave the EU has to close. There is no EU anymore. That's what the party wants. They know that. And this is not a new party. It's there since 2001, because they were back then. They came up against the euro. They didn't want that the D-Mark is changed for euro. They wanted to get rid of the euro. That's where this party comes from. So there are no newcomers or something like that. And they were the only ones against the draconian corona measures in the last years. And these are also the ones that the other parties are working constantly against, and the press is writing against them, and they're calling them not.
They paint them to be right wing or something. I've heard about it.
Yes, and I made even a video about it here in the Wave. If you can remember, in my Wave review, I say that the new version of the Wave here, the TV series, they use this party to call them Nazis and to act against them, which is just not true. And they use a name that everybody exactly knows that they mean AfD. It looks similar, and they could do that because everybody is working against them. As I said, in the media everywhere. But the good news, they managed to come to 20%, over 20% with the voters. And now they are the second biggest party here in Germany. The second biggest one. And they are
that doesn't surprise me.
And they are just 6% away from the biggest one. And by the way, the biggest one is in the opposition anyway. But even this opposition, people have recognized this opposition was the former ruling party here, the Merkel party.
Right.
And they have figured out, because now they have somebody.
Aren't those the Christian Democrats or something?
Yeah. These Christian Democrats have somebody at the top who was working for BlackRock. And it's known. In Germany, everybody knows that he comes from BlackRock. And he tries now to pretend that they are opposition, but they aren't. People know that they aren't opposition because they are losing voters. And now, as I said, they are just 6% away from these other ones. And the next elections, the big elections, are in 2 years, in 2.5 years. So this
2025. Huh?
Yeah, I think so. And but of course there are some small elections in between, which the AfD is constantly winning, by the way. And these are the good news that I wanted to say.
Well, I told you, sometimes you can make differences politically. Other people have told you it's not worth the effort, but you put some effort into it, and you're seeing some results. I don't know what will come of it.
And by the way,
I haven't seen anything about their policies. I looked at their policies. I didn't see anything that looked like Nazis or I'm sorry, they're a little protective and nationalist, which okay, you need to at least have one party that's like that. If you've got 7 or 8 different parties,
they are called Nazis because they say we can't let people uncontrolled get here into the country.
Right.
Yeah, we can't have uncontrolled immigration. We have to control everybody who comes into this country.
Yeah, well, that's the big fight here. Yeah, they just we have illegals coming across by the million.
Yeah, yes, and they don't want open borders. Exactly what your problem in Texas. You don't want open borders that they can immigrate as they like to. Because
and you saw Trump tried to fight that, and what did they do? He spent his whole life as a liberal Democrat who he threw Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton would come to his parties, and he would donate to all the Democrats. Well, as soon as he came out against the immigration, and we're talking millions of illegals, and this is during a time of a pandemic, and these people aren't vaccinated, right? So by the
Yeah.
very rules of the Democrats should be saying, hey, they're not vaccinated. They don't want to get vaccinated. We shouldn't have them. They let them come across, no health check, no vaccination. If nothing else, even if you're not talking about corona, there's lots of other diseases that are being allowed to come into our country with nothing to stop it. And that caused these diseases that were eliminated are coming back because of this uncontrolled immigration. It's one of the problems that we have here. I don't usually talk about such things, but I can.
And as I said, this party is exactly on the course of Trump. It says the Germany for the Germans first, German first. That was, by the way, that was the thumbnail from my German stream here on Friday. I used one of their flags here on the demonstration where they have written German first, Deutschland zuerst. Yes,
Nice.
and I support that. I want.
Well, at least you're getting some political traction. At least you're starting to have some victories. That means people are listening to you.
Also, Greg, this is the party I voted for. Can you remember when we had the mask mandate here and we had here voting time in my city? And I said, I'm going to vote even and without mask, and I'm going to get in there to make a vote. And I voted for them, by the way. I just went there to vote for them because I knew they are different than the other parties. This was the party where I went without masks to the election room and told them I want to vote or I'm going to make trouble, and they let me in, and they got from me a vote 2 years ago.
Well, we're all proud of you for voting, Cub.
Yeah, and everybody told me, "Oh, this is for nothing, and it doesn't change anything."
I didn't tell you that.
No, not you, but here. I mean, here in my town, I was just one of 44 people who voted for them. So, this is really just 44 votes, and I was one of them, because all the other ones who wanted to vote for them maybe didn't go to the election. And I told them, you are stupid fucks. At least try. They were just mourning.
Yeah, you gotta try.
Doing nothing. Yeah, doing nothing. Even with mask, they could have gone there. I didn't wear a mask. And I voted for them. So these are stupid, lazy fucks who are just too lazy to try everything for a change.
Yeah, I can't respect that.
Yeah.
I don't care what your excuse is. Get out there and vote. You know what the stakes are.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's it, kind of, Greg.
Okay, well, that's it for the stream, I guess. We've went through everything. We've got some recommendations, a lot of negative recommendations, but that's how it goes sometimes. Next time, what's going to be on the show for next time? That's in August, right?
And Greg, most important thing, we could keep the stream Brit free. So this is a really good one, without any annoying Brits.
Hey, well, Britain pulled off Brexit. Maybe you guys can pull off. What would you call it? Grexit?
Yeah.
What is Germany and exit? Drek?
Yeah.
I can't do it. It doesn't mold together good in English.
Gurksit. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna think of you when they announce that.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's your dream, isn't it? Well, you had a Brit-free stream, almost. Hey, and there's Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thomas says thank you both, and we thank you. And Cat Claw says good stream. Woohoo! Man, I'm glad y'all liked it. We tried.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I,
So the upcoming reviews are Stephen King, from Stephen King. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Stephen King reviews are
wow.
coming next. And for our next stream is going to be end of August, I think.
Yep.
And you are going to like what we see till then, because we get things like The Howling, Piranhas, Gremlins, and Night of the Creeps, and Critters, and so on in the next
Oh
time.
man, those are good. Maybe we'll discuss some of that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the streams, but with movies, I even there are the next movies are Mission Impossible, of course, Mac 2, and here favorite superhero movie, Blue Beetle, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, or Demeter. Here, Dracula, whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got to cover that one. I forgot about that. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it'll be good.
Yeah, it's in August. But of course, also Barbie and Oppenheimer. These are all movies we are going to talk about. I think. But of course, Mission Impossible.
Send me the list. Oh yeah, MI5 or no? What's the number now?
7, I think.
7? Okay.
But no, 7 part 1. No, it's no joke. It's again a part 1.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not making that up.
Night of the Creeps.
We have 2 movies today. We had 2 movies which were part 1 from whatever, and now Mission Impossible is also part 1. Dead Reckoning part 1. It's called.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even realize that. Okay, well, we've had a long stream. Let's call it a night. Oh, and Cat Claw says Night of the Creeps is a great movie, one of her favorites, and she wants to see Barbie. Wait, maybe it's a great movie. I don't even know who's in it. Maybe it'll be good. I'm hopeful.
Here, it's the actress here from.
It's got a built-in audience. If they don't screw it up, they might do good.
Margot Robbie is Barbie or not?
I don't know.
Yeah, Margot Robbie here from here.
Which
Joker,
studio is making
the female Joker? What's the female Joker? Is she Harley Quinn? No. She was in Suicide Squad, and also.
Oh, yeah, that's Margot Robbie, right?
Yeah, this female Joker, whatever. She's Barbie, and but let's see. I'm looking more forward to Barbie than to Oppenheimer. That's for sure.
I don't know. I have no opinion on either one of them so far. Just going into it with a complete blank slate. That's how I like to do it. I don't watch. I try to avoid stuff sometimes. So we'll see. But, I guess it's goodbye.
Don't you want to see a 3-hour movie about the guy who invented the atomic bomb?
Probably not, but maybe. I mean, is it a good movie? Is it a drama? Is it?
It's a Christopher Nolan movie.
I don't know. It doesn't sound good, but I remain optimistic. Okay, so I guess that's it for the stream.
Yep. So goodbye to everybody, and see you in 2 months. No, see you next Wednesday here on a new video, Nightmares and Dream Escapes. But this is really a new video. This is not the one that I remade from back then.
And which channel are you doing that on? Lone Wolf Cub?
Yes, on Lone Wolf Cub and on Yapango, but on Lone Wolf Cub, of course, the English version. And this is the second new video this year. If you can remember, All Night, No Stars was also a new video, the first one this year. And this is the second new video this year. It's called Nightmares and Dream Escapes. Also Stephen King.
All right. I'm looking forward to
So
it. That's Wednesday.
that's Wednesday. Yeah. So
Nice.
and also I wanted to mention. Did you get my message, Greg? Here in Discord, the night shift video has already, I think, 300 views, and it's just 4 days old. So it's kind of a hit.
Oh, that's cool.
It's already on. I have to. Because the German one is has just 109 views, and the English one has 285 views already.
Wow, that's cool.
In just 4 days. So this is kind of a hit, or not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Just wanted to mention that. Some of my videos, they get overlooked from YouTube, so they didn't catch them, and this one.
I know how you feel.
Like, yeah, so it's so cool. It escaped the YouTube harassment.
Yeah, right.
So see you people, and bye.